4 more strikeouts give him 4,000, and only 2 other men in the history of the game have done that, Steve Carlton and Nolan Ryan. And is he meant to get 300 in the house that Ruth built? We will see. A jam-packed Yankee Stadium on hand to watch Roger Clemens chase history. Miguel Cairo digs in, and the pitch as the flashbulbs go off all around the ballpark. Tonight's ball game on CBS2 can be heard in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Jeep, only in a Jeep. The 1-0, and there's a strike. 59 degrees first pitch temperature. There is rain in the forecast, and we are hoping that it holds off so we can get a baseball game in. And the 1-1 popped up behind the plate, first base side. Posada, he can't get there.
Michael, you mentioned on this date that Christy Mathewson won his 300th game 91 years ago. Mathewson went on to win 73 more. Hall of Fame right-hander for the New York Giants.
And I wonder if on Christy Mathewson's first pitch that day there were that many flashbulbs. People trying to record history so they can say, hey, this is the first pitch of Roger Clemens' game when he got his 300th victory. Crowd is into this. And the 1-2. He struck him out. High fastball, foul tipped into the glove of Posada, 1 away. That is strikeout number 39-97.
And we talked about this potent offense that the Cardinals bring to Yankee Stadium since 1964. They're leading the National League in hitting at .288. And if you look up and down this lineup, Fernando Vina, normally in this lineup, he's on the disabled list. Cairo's in there, but I'll tell you what, it is some kind of offensive lineup.
Pitch to J.D. Drew is a strike. They are keeping totals here. Nolan Ryan first strikeout list. Steve Carlton is second, and Roger is third, ahead of Randy Johnson. Pitch is outside. Ryan, one of Clemens' idols, 57-14 on the strikeout list. Steve Carlton, 41-36. And now Clemens, 39-97. Swing and a miss.
Good splitter from Roger Clemens. That is his primary strikeout pitch to the left-handed hitters. And in the early going here, at least one of the first ones he's thrown, it had some bite to it.
Little bit low. Home plate umpire is Gary Darling. Chris Guccione is at first. Larry Vanover, the second base umpire, and Jerry Meals is at third. And Darling, the crew chief. And the 2-2. Nub slowly third base side, but that stays foul.
Roger not feeling well in his last start. That's pretty much has been recorded by everybody, that upper respiratory infection. He has since gotten away from all the antibiotics, all the things that they were giving him, B12 shots, etc. He said, I just want to get back, get all that stuff out of my system, get back to my routine. And talking to Joe Torre, Bell Stottlemyre, he's almost back to 100%, maybe 95%.
And the 2-2. Another ground ball foul.
J.D. Drew is doing a pretty good job of staying alive. There's some tough pitches that he fouled off the last 2 splitters. And here's a young man who has the tools to be a great ball player for the Cardinals in the next few years. Young player, but he's much too injury prone. And they say it's hard to keep him in the lineup more than 3 days in a row.
Another 2-2. He struck him out. High fastball, 94 miles an hour. He's 2 away from 4,000.
One thing that Clemens did with J.D. Drew, you saw the splitters downstairs in the strike zone. So in the fastball, he elevates it, gets it upstairs. A different look for the hitter, and Drew can't get up there to get it. And he strikes him out on the high heat. Splitters and then the fastball upstairs.
Pitch to Pujols is a strike.
Bobby, all 3 pitches look pretty sharp. That was a slider to Pujols to start him off, and it had some bite to it and broke in for a strike.
You're going to have to make good pitches to this guy here. He can hit. He has no holes. Talking to a lot of the St. Louis Cardinal brass that's here at Yankee Stadium, they're saying this kid does not have any holes at all. He's got power to all field. You take a look at these numbers and you know why.
Rain falling at Yankee Stadium, but the crowd is standing. And the 0-2 way outside.
One thing that will help Roger that he didn't have on the road, he'll have the crowd behind him, and that's an additional incentive. You can see they're looking for the 4,000th strikeout. I think they're going to get a chance to see it tonight.
And the 1-2 inside, 2-2.
Well, we mentioned how hot the Cardinals have been with the bats, and I think there's nobody hotter than Pujols. He is 20 for his last 41.
That's hot.
That is quite warm. And his manager Tony La Russa, one of the all-time best managers, certainly appreciates what this guy can do for a team.
And the 2-2. He struck him out. Dropped by Posada. He flips the first, and Clemens strikes out the side. What a beginning on Friday the 13th. Clemens is 1 away from 4,000 strikeouts. He strikes out Cairo. He strikes out Drew. And the major's leading hitter, Albert Pujols, goes down. Good start. We go to the bottom of the first. Well, you can't start much better than Roger Clemens did, ringing up 3 strikeouts in the top of the first. Now Jason Simon-Tachi will go up against this Yankee starting lineup, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Get the feeling, Toyota. Alfonso Soriano, the second baseman, leads off. The shortstop, Derek Jeter, will bat second. Hitting third and playing first base, Jason Giambi. The cleanup hitter, the catcher, Jorge Posada. Robin Ventura at third base will hit fifth. Batting sixth and playing center field, Hideki Matsui. In his last 7 games, 14 for 25. That's .560, 2 homers, 6 ribbies. Ruben Sierra, the DH, will bat seventh. Batting eighth and playing right field, Raul Mondesi. And Juan Rivera will play left field, and he will bat ninth.
Jason Simon-Tachi making his 12th start of the year, 4-3 record. He's been pitching much better than the ERA would show of late. 69 hits in 59 innings, 14 home runs, 23 walks, and 31 strikeouts.
Scouting report, never give up. Well, he has been released twice, and now he's got new life. He won 11 games for the Cardinals last year. Change is good. That is one of his best pitches. Andare profondo. That's Italian for
going deep.
Well, I'm waiting for the pitch. Thank you, guys. That's the reason we got many up here, because of
I did not know that you spoke Italian.
I
like
didn't either. That's my first time.
Jason pitched for the Italian team in the Sydney Olympics.
Andare profondo.
Kenny speaks it very well.
And the count 1-1 on Alfonso Soriano.
Those language tapes work.
The old-time Cardinal Sox. Simon-Tachi is wearing the pants high. There's a strike.
Speaking of the old-time Cardinal Sox, you know, these are 2 of the teams that wear the classic uniforms that haven't changed over the years, and 2 of the, you know, the Yankee uniform is a classic with the pinstripes, and the Cardinal uniform with the Cardinals across the chest, sitting on the bat. Goes back a long time.
And these 2 teams have met 5 times in World Series play. And the last time they met was in 1964. Yankees lost that series in 7 games. Take a look at Scott Rowland, one of the best young third basemen, and Alfonso Soriano, one of the best young second basemen, wearing old-time uniforms. Foul bat.
Yeah, we're talking about the last time the Cardinals and the Yankees met was back in 1964. Mel Stottlemyre actually made 3 starts in that 7-game World Series. In fact, 3 against Bob Gibson. We had a chance to talk to Yogi Berra, who was the manager of that 64 team. He's going to come and talk about it in the 3rd inning.
And the 1-2. Punched out toward right field, but that'll be foul and into the seats.
So the Yankees with the 26 World Championships, and the St. Louis Cardinals second on the all-time list. They've won 9 times. And here's a look at the.
That one is popped up. Left side rolling near the seats, measuring, and he puts it away for the first out of the inning.
Cardinals have a great defensive ball club. As you look at Roland at third base, he's won the Gold Glove 4 times. Edgar Renteria, their shortstop, won it last year for the first time. Fernando Vina, their second baseman, who's on the disabled list, as a Gold Glove winner. And we all know about Jim Edmonds in center. He's won it 5 times.
Pretty strong defense for the Cardinals, and that makes up for a less than great starting rotation. Take a look at Jim Edmonds, former Angel, now a mainstay with the Cardinals. Derek Jeter digs in, 1 for his last 11. That one was a first inning bunt yesterday. And there's a strike. And the count levels at 1-1.
Yeah, Simon Tachi, he's not one of those guys that's going to overpower you with his fastball in the mid 80s, maybe 87, 88 he'll get. But he's got a great changeup and a great breaking ball.
Swing and a miss by Jeter. Jeter is 1 for his last 18, and of those 17 outs, he's made 10 strikeouts.
Looks like Derek is jumping at the ball a little bit, and that's one of the things that hitters, when they get into slumps and they start missing balls that they should be hitting, normally that head is moving and they're jumping way out in front, and you get really over anxious and you swing at a lot of bad pitches.
That one is lined to right field. And that is going to dunk in front of J.D. Drew for a base hit. So Derek Jeter had only a bunt single yesterday, but he had a line drive to center and he had a line drive to right, and that means he's doing the right things at the plate.
Looked like this pitch was up and out over the plate, about bell tie, out over the plate, and Derek hits the ball to the opposite field as well as any right-handed hitter in the league, and drives this one in for the base hit. Like it was teed up out over the plate for him, and he singles to right field.
Longtime pitching coach for Tony La Russa, both with Oakland and the St. Louis Cardinals, is Dave Duncan, former catcher.
Duncan is a former teammate of mine in Baltimore. He was there for 1 year. Had some power.
You don't see too many catchers to become pitching coaches, but Dave Duncan has become one, and has become one of the best ones.
He is a trusted coach of Tony La Russa going back to the Oakland days, and when La Russa got the Cardinal job, that was the guy he insisted on having. They've made a pretty good team together.
He also brought over Dave McKay and also Mitchell Page with him.
And Dave McKay goes back to the Oakland days, and Mitchell Page does in a way as well. He played for Tony La Russa in Oakland.
Pitch is low.
It's funny how word gets out, even in the National League, that they would play a shift on Jason Giambi.
I think it's from watching all that video. They see, why is everybody over there? There must be a reason. We're going to stack our defense over there as well.
In the clubhouse before today's ball game, in the Cardinal clubhouse.
1-1.
Wanting to talk to some of the guys, that they had more meetings going on than I think the State House was over in Washington. But first they had a pitcher's meeting, then they had a catcher's meeting, then they had a hitter's meeting, then they had a defensive meeting.
You know, one thing about Tony La Russa's teams that we've seen over the years, Bobby, they are well prepared. And that's one reason why he's been such a successful manager. You know, you might not always have the best players, but if you prepare them properly, you can get more out of them.
That one's hit deep to right, but foul. Well, La Russa's really changed this game in a lot of ways. I think he's the one who really started instituting the meetings, the preparation, poring over all of the scouting reports. He also is the guy who turned closers into one-inning animals with Dennis Eckersley, and now the whole league is followed and matching up. And I look at Tony La Russa and say that's the reason the game has slowed up as much as it has.
I look at Tony La Russa, that's what I was going to say, and he's the guy that they're trying to combat now today to bring the game back into a timely manner.
Popped up right center field. Jim Edmonds is there, and he puts it away for the second out of the inning.
So you're also talking about signs from the benches and all that sort of thing, and more managerial control.
Always out to the mound, and he really has his hand in everything, and it's hard to argue with him because obviously he has been brilliant. 8 years with the Cardinals, overall 1,959 wins, and that's 8th all-time on the list. And last year he won his 4th Manager of the Year award, so he does his job.
Yeah, he's first on the list actively with wins. You see those wins, 1,959 wins. That's first all-time actively. Active today, 8th all-time. But I was talking to Mitchell Page, the hitting instructor, about this potent offense that they have, and they bring to Yankee Stadium. And he says Tony La Russa will watch batting practice. And if he sees those guys trying to hit the ball in the ballpark all the time, he'll say, hey, that's enough of that. Batting practice is over with. And they know then that they're supposed to be thinking about hitting the ball up the middle and to the opposite way, because he doesn't want them to get a home run happy, and especially in batting practice. So he even wants them to be practicing what they should be doing in a ball game.
I wonder if he felt that way when he had the Bash brothers in Oakland.
He didn't have to worry about it today because no one took any batting practice except underneath the stands, and the tarp was on. I'm sure he liked the home runs then. Joe Girardi, not a home run hitter. He's a backup catcher on this team, and a lot of people think a future manager or a future general manager. And he just reveres his days that he had with the Yankees, and he is thrilled about being back here tonight. The 2-0. Driven out to left field and deep. Going back, Kerry Robinson. Still back, and that one's up against the wall. It caroms past Robertson. Jeter will round third. He'll head home. An RBI double for Jorge Posada, and the Yankees lead 1-0.
I don't know if we're seeing something that the Yankees are starting to work on. We talked about the Cardinals and the way they want to approach batting practice, hitting the ball the opposite way. We saw Derek Jeter go the opposite way for a base hit. We see Jorge Posada on a 2-0 pitch take it to the left field for a double and the first run for the Yankees. You can see with that speed with Derek Jeter, no chance for Robinson, and the Yankees will take the lead.
He almost hit it out of here.
Here's Ventura. Big healthy cut.
One thing that does for you, Michael, is that from a hitter standpoint, it keeps that shoulder, that front shoulder in just a little bit longer, which keeps you on the ball a little bit longer. If you're way out in front, or if you're jumping out, that shoulder flies, and of course you don't get a good look at the baseball, and your hands come way forward, you can't drive the ball.
Fouled off in front of the plate. The RBI for Posada, his 45th of the year. And Posada, who Clemens so desperately wanted to catch his 300 victory, gives Clemens a 1-0 lead here in the first. And the 0-2 is outside. The Cardinals shift for Ventura more than any other team. Renteria is almost behind second base, so a lot of that left side of the infield is wide open. And also Jim Edmonds is playing extremely shallow in center field.
Yeah, I was going to say that besides Paul Blair, I don't know of any center fielder that plays as shallow a center field as Jim Edmonds.
And the 1-2 blocked nicely by Matheny.
Matheny, a very good defensive catcher. You'll see him block balls with efficiency. Quick feet, good strong arm. Just what you would want. And of course, Joe Girardi had that when he was catching here for the Yankees. Now in the backup role with the Cardinals.
And the 2-2. He struck him out, and Ventura down on strikes. But the Yankees get a run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. So Jorge Posada, who grew up in the Yankee organization, gets a big double the other way, and his mentor, Joe Girardi, watches intently. Roger Clemens gets ready for the second inning. He is one strikeout away from the magic 4,000 mark. Only 2 players in Major League history have reached that level. Nolan Ryan got to 5,000, almost 6,000, 57-14. Steve Carlton 41-36, and Clemens, after striking out the side in the first inning, 39-99. Sounds like a discount to me. And here's Jim Edmonds. Like a breaking ball up and away, 1-0.
And one thing you can't discount from Roger Clemens, most of those strikeouts that he has have been hitters. Hasn't faced too many pitchers. Now with interleague play he does.
That one is driven deep to left center field. Going back, Rivera, still back on the track. See ya! A home run, Jim Edmonds, and this game is tied at 1.
Well, the one thing that the Cardinals did for the Yankees is they won 2 of 3 at Fenway, so they beat Boston to help the Yankees out as the Yankees start tonight's game a half a game in front. But Jim Edmonds with his 18th home run. And last night he had a huge home run in that 13th inning game that the Cardinals won up at Fenway.
In fact, he hit 2 home runs in last night's game against the Red Sox.
Pitch to Scott Rowland is fouled back.
And he has good power to the opposite field. And what that does for a hitter, when you can hit powerfully to the opposite field, that means you can wait till the very last second and then strike and still hit the ball out of the park.
And the 0-1. Fouled away. The home run by Edmonds ensures that Tino Martinez, the number 7 hitter in the lineup, will actually get up this inning. And the crowd is getting up as well. They are looking for 4,000. They want to get that out of the way. And the 0-2 way outside, and the flash bulbs snapping all around the stadium. They got to change 4 numbers with the next strikeout. And the 1-2 low, 2-2. Rowland struck out 3 times in the Cardinals' extra inning win last night against the Red Sox. Will he be part of history right here? Tino looking on. And the 2-2. Fouled away. A lot of flash balls being wasted.
One of the most coveted free agents as we take a look at Mel Stottlemyre, who closely monitors all of his pitchers, but certainly Roger tonight because of that respiratory infection that he had in his last start. Scott Rowland, one of those magic free agents.
Rowland steps out, tries to unplug the crowd for a moment, but it'll build back up again. And the 2-2 fights it off. It looks like Christmas in June here at the stadium with each pitch.
Rowland may have to get another bat. That was a 90-plus fastball up and in.
1 away from 300 victory-wise, 1 away from 4,000 strikeout-wise. And the 2-2 pitch. Driven deep to left field, giving chases Rivera. That ball is going to be 1 hop off the wall. Rivera will play the carom, and hustling into second with a double is Scott Rowland. So he won that battle.
Looked like a splitter that kind of hung low and inside. Didn't have the sharp break to it, and Rowland, despite all the pitches with the fastball upstairs, was able to get down and get that splitter and line it into the corner in left field. Rivera gets it back in. Rowland's in at second with a double. Well, these hitters are well aware there's 3,999 strikeouts, and each one of them is fighting Roger Clemens all the way.
Players want to be in the history books, but not sometimes in the history book the way it's recorded.
Rowland leads off second. Jeter trying to check him back. Renteria at the plate. There's a strike. Renteria, 1 strikeout every 15.2 at bats, 4th hardest to fan in the National League, and Tino Martinez is on deck. And you'll expect quite an ovation for Martinez. When Bob Shepard read the St. Louis lineup before the game, the crowd went nuts when Tino's name was mentioned. Foul back.
Renteria is becoming an offensive force in this lineup. He's hitting .346 coming in. Last year he started to take off a bit with the bat. He was primarily known as a glove man, but he hit .305 last year. And now the crowd is looking for 4,000 again.
Clemens is well aware of the records within his grasp, and he knows this would be 4,000. And the 0-2 just missed. Gary Darling's not giving him anything.
It's almost as if he wants it to be a swing and a miss, because this pitch is close. A lot of times that would be called a strike.
You bet. That's too close to take. I know that.
And the 1-2 just got a piece.
The Cardinals as a team are hitting .331 this month, so that tells you they haven't been striking out very much.
With all those flash bulbs going off, there's going to be a lot of pictures on eBay tomorrow.
This is a good matchup. A strikeout pitcher against a team that has struck out the fewest times in the National League. Very good matchup tonight.
And Clemens struck out the side. 1-2-3 in the first inning. Game is tied at 1. Rolling at second, nobody out. Clemens steps off. Now he calls out Posada.
Well, with the runner down at second base, you go through those multiple signs, and Posada, Clemens just couldn't get together. So the best thing to do is to call timeout, go out there and talk it over and get it right, especially with nobody out here in the second inning. Rolling down at second, they try to mix up the signs just in case that runner at second wants to flash a sign back to the hitter on what's coming.
And the 1-2 missed inside. Clemens wanted it and the crowd wanted it, and Joe is starting to get a little bit annoyed. Tight strike zone by Gary Darling.
Well, you would think that if this was Ted Williams, you could see that, but Edgar Renteria, and I think Clemens thought that he had Renteria struck out for the second time in this inning, but as far as Gary Darling is concerned, he says no.
2-2. Just got a piece.
You saw Joe say, what was wrong with that ball?
Of course, the manager is not able to argue balls and strikes with the home plate umpire. That's an automatic ejection. You take a look at it. All I can tell you is that with 2 strikes on a hitter, that's way too close to be taking.
A look of bewilderment. Three and 2. Rain starting to fall a little bit harder here at Yankee Stadium, and Tino Martinez gets a towel to wipe off the rain, and he'll be up next. There's an electricity in the crowd tonight. Postseason feel. The 3-2. He struck him out. Strikeout number 4,000. And Roger Clemens has just joined an exclusive fraternity. Only 3 members. Nolan Ryan, Steve Carlton, and now Roger Clemens.
Tino Martinez.
And now the hand for Tino Martinez. The memories keep coming here at Yankee Stadium. Hard not to have goosebumps tonight. And there's a strike.
Yeah, I know this game is back on TV to St. Louis, and it might be interesting for Cardinal fans if they would watch and just what they've just heard here at the stadium, because Tino Martinez recently in St. Louis has been booed by the Cardinal fans.
Swing and a miss.
He has struggled, especially with the power department. Only 4 home runs this year. And some are beginning to talk about Tino maybe has lost some of his speed in his bat. Not able to generate that bat speed through the strike zone.
Well, Tino never takes the easy route. He replaces Don Mattingly and he replaces Mark McGwire. And the 0-2. He struck him out. 4,001. 5 strikeouts for Clemens tonight. Tino must feel pretty good. Obviously, he doesn't like the strikeout, but what a huge ovation as he returns back to Yankee Stadium. Pitch to Mike Matheny. Swung on a miss.
I would be surprised if Tino wasn't so pumped up that he actually just couldn't make contact with the ball. A lot of times that'll happen. You get a little bit distracted because you're back at a most favorite place for you, and a lot of memories. The crowd is behind you. You've been struggling for a little bit. It's really a boost for you, but maybe it may have been a little bit too hopped up.
The 0-1. Foul back. Matheny digs in. Clemens up in the count, 0-2. And the pitch. Upstairs. Clemens throwing the fastball between 91 and 94. The splitter between 88 and 90. And he looks like he has pretty good stuff tonight. The game is tied at 1. We're in the top of the 2nd inning. He's recorded 5 outs. All 5 have been via the strikeout. A steady rain continuing to fall here at Yankee Stadium. They might be playing in this all night. And the 1-2. Just missed. Gary, not a darling of the crowd behind home plate. Or of Joe Torre.
Well, all 5 of the strikeouts have been swinging strikeouts. Not one of them has been a called 3rd strike. So, like I said, he's making Clemens earn his strikeouts tonight.
One thing about it, the height of the pitches, all right, he must be calling it for inside. I can't think of anything else. Those pitches are really close.
One game, top of the 2nd. Runner on 2nd, 2 outs. Clemens going for his 300th win. He had 1 milestone already by the boards. His 2's a wild. Picked up his 4,000th strikeout. Up and away. On deck, Kerry Robinson. The emotion in this ballpark is palpable tonight. This crowd is pumped. It's sitting through extreme inclement weather. A crowd of over 50,000 have made their way to the stadium to see all the storylines we presented early. This will be Clemens' 52nd pitch of the night. Check that, 42nd. He struck him out. He has struck out the side in the first 2 innings. But the big strikeout in this inning, Edgar Renteria. Strikeout number 4,000 for a pitcher. Clemens is now part of an exclusive group, the Fortune 4000. Congratulations, Roger Clemens. Go to the bottom of the second inning here at the stadium. Cardinals and the Yankees are tied at 1. Hideki Matsui digs in against Jason Simontachi. 1-2-0 to 1-2-0. Clemens, going for his 300th victory, has struck out the first 6 outs he's recorded. Pitch to Matsui is a strike. Matsui 10 for his last 17. He's raised his average to 279. And the 0-1. Breaking ball low and inside.
Yeah, since Joe Torre has moved him out of the second spot in the order, Matsui's gone 12 for 25.
And you wonder if that's just coincidence or he feels more comfortable lower in the order.
Well, I don't know, Kenny. I would feel more comfortable in the second slot. I mean, you're going to get better pitches to hit, and especially if you're struggling. I mean, that would be the spot that you'd want to hit, and I'm sure that's the reason Joe moved him.
That one's hit deep to right field. Going back, Drew, looking up. See ya! Another dramatic home run for Hideki Matsui, and the Yankees lead 2-1.
Well, you can make it 13 for 26. There's only one player since that time that Joe Torre moved him out of the second spot who has more hits than Matsui, and that's Albert Pujols, the first baseman of the Cardinals. But this one, high fastball, drilled the right field. No doubt about it. That's Bobby Mercer territory.
Pitch to Ruben Sierra's a strike. 6th home run of the year for Matsui. Matsui likes hitting against the National League. He is 16 for 34 with 7 ribbies in interleague play.
Had time to develop the pitchers, find out what they're throwing.
That one is lofted into center field. Right there is Edmonds. We told you how shallow he plays. It paid off that time. Last time the Yankees and the Cardinals met, as we mentioned, the 1964 World Series, and the Yankees starting lineup in Game 7 of that series, October 15th of 64, a pretty impressive lineup. Linz, Richardson, Maris up top, Mantle, Howard, Pepitone in the middle, Tresh, Boyer, and yes, Yankee pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre was the starter. And this look at the 1964 World Series has been brought to you by Dimension Home Video's They. Buy the DVD today.
Bell actually started 3 games in that World Series, and 3 times he was matched up against Bob Gibson.
And here's Mel Stottlemyre's reaction 39 years later to Roger Clemens' 4,000th strikeout. And that was one of the reasons Mel came back. He thought he was going to retire at the end of the year, and Roger really wanted to have him as the pitching coach when he picked up his 300th victory. And I guess an added bonus would be he'd be here for his 4,000th strikeout. Right now, Roger Clemens and Mel Stottlemyre talking up the runway here at Yankee Stadium, because after each inning, Roger Clemens goes back to the clubhouse to change his shirt rather than sit and get stiff on the dugout bench. The 2-1. Grounded up the middle, and that is going to be snared there by Renteria. Fires to first. He got him. Nice play by Edgar Renteria.
Oh, man, we talked about the Cardinal defensive ability, and you just saw some of it from Renteria, ranging far to his left and throwing on the run and throwing out a speedy runner in Mondesi. Well, he is on the outfield grass when he releases the ball. Rainbow of a throw, but gets there in time for Pujols and the out. What a play by Renteria, who won his first Gold Glove, Rawlings Gold Glove Award last season. Man, is that a good play.
And a nice stretch by Pujols at first base, playing there because of he's got a little tender elbow, so it's hard for him to throw from the outfield.
Rivera fouls on off into the upper deck. 0-1.
The Cardinals think that someday, though, that's where Pujols is going to be playing on a regular basis. And the first base, he's a fine first baseman. You were talking about Mel. He always goes each inning every time Roger, all of his pitchers, but he follows Roger up to the clubhouses and talks to him. What he did at Wrigley Field. And Roger was saying in the papers that day at Wrigley Field, when they decided to take him out, that he said, well, I was talking to Mel, and we were talking about not being able to breathe, a lot of having some difficulty out there. So he said, when I went out in the 7th inning, I expected there'd be 2 guys warming up with me pitching in the 7th inning.
And the 0-2, blocked by Matheny. Next inning, well, you're going to want to hang around. I don't think people are going to be leaving this anyway, but you're going to want to hang around because Yogi Berra is going to join us in the booth, and he was the manager of that 1964 Yankee American League Championship team. He'll give us his memories. The 1-2, a little bit low. Quite a task for Simon Tachi. Tim Wakefield has battled Roger Clemens in a quest for 300. Jeremy Bonderman has battled Roger Clemens, and Kerry Wood has battled Roger Clemens. So Simon Tachi is giving it a go right here. Out of nowhere, after pitching in Italy, pitching on the Italian Olympic team, here he is in Yankee Stadium, a crowd that's loaded for bear for history, and he's got to be the guy who's trying to stop it. The 3-2 upstairs, so Rivera walks. So Rivera walks with 2 outs here in the second, and that brings up Soriano.
You know, it's interesting about Simon Tachi pitching for the Italian Olympic team, because when foreigners go over the play in Italy in their baseball, you're only allowed to play on weekends, but they found out he had some Italian blood in him, so they said, well, you can pitch any day of the week.
Yankee grounds crew is going to doctor the mound just a little bit. It's getting a little too wet for Simon Tachi, and they're also doing the same thing at home plate. They're putting on that drying agent, and this game is going to be played in a steady mist or a steady rain, and that's just the way it is, and they want to get these games in, and that's one of the drawbacks in interleague play. You don't have any place to make these games up. The Cardinals don't come back. The Yankees don't go into St. Louis. So you have to try to get these games in whenever you can.
Well, hopefully it won't be the same situation that the Cubs had last night in Baltimore. 2-hour and 42-minute rain delay.
Well, tonight on The Late Show, Dave's got actress Lauren Ambrose. And Monday, you haven't heard from Senator Hillary Clinton until you've seen her with Dave. It's a late show you don't want to miss. Dave's all new Monday, right after CBS 2 News at 11. And you can see how hard it is raining here at Yankee Stadium. But I got to be honest with you. I'm not the one sitting out there in the rain right now. But I don't think that anybody who's in this crowd right now is even thinking about the rain, because they realize what a special night it could be.
Well, you saw that many of the fans came prepared.
It wasn't like the forecast wasn't for rain, so they knew that they probably were going to have to sit in the rain. You see lots of umbrellas, but you were talking about Simon Tachi playing at the Italian League over there, baseball. He had a funny quote. He said, you know, it's the first time that when I was in the dugout, guys were smoking and drinking in the Italian League.
Tough league.
We'll let Yogi speak about that when he comes in.
Simon Tachi, he sets and delivers. There's a strike. Two to 1 Yankees lead. Sellout crowd at Yankee Stadium. Juan Rivera leads off first. It's going to be tough to steal bases because it's going to be a slow track. And the pitch is inside 1-1. Matheny's a pretty good catch and throw guy. And again, you cover the tarp before the game, so that does the best that it could. But once the game begins, the tarp's not there. Well, that is going to slowly turn into mud. The 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Yeah, the outfield with this new drainage system. I mean, they could have a hurricane and you can still play a game. That's how good the drainage system is here. It won't affect the outfield, but like you said, Michael, the dirt on the infield, maybe even the warning track, could get a little gummy, a little slippery.
It is interesting because years ago when the infields were covered, the outfielders, you always get your shoes ruined, stepping in puddles and things. Well, nowadays the outfielders have less problems than the infielders.
Count 2-2. And the pitch. Grounded to third, backing up Roland. Fields goes to second, and that will do it here in the second inning. 1 run, 1 hit, and nobody left on base. Roger Clemens will come out and try to pitch the third. Roger Clemens, through the years, he started with the Red Sox, moved to the Blue Jays, and then ended up with the Yankees. go to the third inning. Kerry Robinson leads off, and the pitch is a strike from Roger Clemens. We are joined here in the booth. It's always a pleasure to be with a living legend, Hall of Famer Yogi Berra. That's true, Yo. And number 8 will never be worn by anybody again. Only worn by Yogi Berra and Bill Dickey. Pitches a little bit low. How you doing, Yogi?
Oh, fine. Doing very good.
Yeah, you enjoying the game?
Well, so far, we're ahead.
One of my favorite people.
Yogi, I'll tell you what, this stadium and the Yankees it's nonstop when you talk about things that have happened to this Yankee ball club. But back in 1964, you were the manager of this club.
That's right.
And I know the Cardinals, that's the first time the Cardinals have been back to Yankee Stadium since 1964. But you guys lose in 7 games.
Flat foul.
And Mel Stottlemyre, I think, pitched 3 of those 7 games for you. He was a rookie, right?
That's right. He pitched the last day with 2 days rest. And also Gibson pitched with 2 days rest.
You put a pretty good lineup out there for the Yankees in Game 7, Yogi.
You know, Bobby Richards hit about 400 that year, and drove in about 13 runs.
Now, Yogi, as I take a look at that lineup, as we look at Mel there, as I take a look at that, Mel told me he struck out 5 times in that series against Gibson.
Oh.
As I look at that lineup, is that a hit and run type of lineup?
No, not too much.
No,
not
I'm
too
just
much.
kidding you. Look at the power. Maris, Mantle, Howard, Pepe, Tresh.
1-2, fouled away. Yogi, did you realize at the time how much was riding on that Game 7 for you?
No, I didn't. I really didn't. Just to try to win the game. That's it. You know, it hurt us, you know, when we lost Whitey the first game, you know. And that kind of screwed up our pitching staff there. And we do the best we can.
Slow roller. Nice play by Posada. 1 away.
Mel was telling me that Bob Gibson, we'll take another look at this play here, but
you teach him this, Yogi?
One of your guys here, Yogi?
No, that way? No, I wouldn't throw it underhand.
Okay, now the truth is really coming out.
But the results were just as good.
That's good.
They were that time. But Bob Gibson, Mel was telling me that he came back in 2 days rest.
That's
Gibson
right.
for the 7th game, and Gibson came back in 2 days rest. But Gibson,
Ground ball left side, through for a base hit for Miguel Cairo.
but Gibson had pitched 9 innings 2 days ago.
That's right. Well,
Mel only went like 6 or 7.
But that's pretty good. You know, we just brought him up. You know, he was only a kid. That,
yeah.
You know, we brought him up and he won 9 games for us during the season. And that's the best we had. That's all. That kind of ruined that Bonton won 2 games in that series, but we used him.
Here's J.D. Drew. Yankees are leading 2-1 top of the 3rd inning. Roger Clemens going for his 300th victory. He has picked up his 4,000th strikeout in the 2nd inning, striking out Edgar Renteria. And the pitch is outside.
I mean, 39 years later, Yogi, there wouldn't be one manager that I know of that would bring anybody back in 2 days.
Oh, I don't know. Will Gibson come back in 2 days?
No, I'm talking about this time, 39 years
today.
later.
Maybe not. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you.
It'd be tough for a manager to ask a pitcher to go out there nowadays.
2 days ago, you pitched 9 innings.
That's right.
I'll tell you, it came close, though, in the 2001 series. Remember, they brought back Randy Johnson in relief on no days rest.
That's right.
That's in relief. That's not starting.
That's not starting.
Yep.
Cardinals had a pretty good lineup for that 7th game as well.
Oh, they did. They had a good team. Bill White, you know, the announcer.
Sure.
He was here. They had Shannon.
Shannon, who's also a broadcaster.
Kirk
here.
Flood, Bill White, Ken Boyer, Dick Rowe.
A couple of Hall of Famers, Lou Brock and Bob Gibson.
Look at all the broadcasters in that lineup. Tim McCarver had a great series, did he?
Oh, yeah, Tim did. He beat us one game.
He actually beat you in Game 5 here, the last game between these two teams at Yankee Stadium.
Was that a 3-run shot? It was a 3-run home run, I think, didn't he?
Yep.
It'd be off of Pete Nicholson.
It's amazing how much you can remember.
We lost the 4th game when Boyer hit the home run to beat Downey.
Yeah, the kid at third base for the Cardinals now, Scott Rowland, reminds me a lot of Ken Boyer. Big, strong guy, good power, excellent fielder.
Well, Clete was pretty good.
Yeah, Clete was good too. That was a battle of the Boyer brothers in that World Series.
Oh, yeah, it was.
There's Scott Rowland.
Yep.
He signed the largest contract in Cardinal history. He signed as a free agent.
Right.
Swing and a miss. We're talking with Yankee legend Yogi Berra here at the stadium. Yogi on to watch Rogers attempt at 300.
They're handing out a few more bucks these days than they were back in 1964. Can you remember what a World Series share was back then?
My gosh, I took a cut to manage.
Do you remember what a World Series share was back then? You had so many of them.
That's 7,000, wasn't it?
No, we got a little more then. You know, I think the most we ever got when we played the Giants. We really did. You know, we were pulling for the Giants to beat the Dodgers in the
bigger park.
Bigger park. I think we got about 8,000.
Strikeout of J.D. Drew. Yeah. 2 away. 7 strikeout for Clemens, and we're only in the 3rd inning.
It's the 2nd time for J.D. Drew. You just paints the outside corner.
Of all the strikeouts, it's the first one that's been called.
That's right.
All the others, he made them earn the previous ones by all swinging.
I think he missed 2 of them inside on Clemens on the shortstop.
So I'm trying to think of what the World Series share is now. A winning share
about 300 grand.
300,000 as opposed to 7.
Pitch to Pujols is inside.
Well, I think back in those days the minimum salary was like 7,500. Yeah, like 7,500. Today it's almost 300,000. I think it is.
It is 300.
Is it 300,000?
Is that the minimum?
Minimum, Young. Yes. Might be time for a comeback.
Oh, no.
Young, I know there's 2 outs, but I want to know how you came off the field as an active player and ended up managing for the Yankees. How did that unfold?
Well, it started spring training. Ralph Houk come over to me in spring training during. He said, "How do you like to manage?" I said, "Manage who?" He said, "The Yankees." He said, "Well, it's up to you if you want me to manage. What are you going to do?" He says, "I'm going to go up to the office. So watch everything I do this year, you know, and everything, and I manage." I enjoyed it. I really did. 47. We came back pretty good in that year. We had to win a lot of games.
There's the major.
2-0.
I've been lucky. I guess I won the pennant the last month of the season both places, Mets and the Yankees. We had a good September.
Well, you're always a clutch player.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, it's
in the record books.
It's been documented. Yeah. You're a clutch player.
Just for the people who don't know, that year after you lost to the Cardinals, go as the Yankee manager, and the other manager who was managing for the Cardinals was Johnny Keane at that time. The Yankees hired Johnny Keane to come over here in 1965, I guess it was.
Yeah, 65. They got him over here. I was kind of shocked. I thought I was going in. They called me in the office. I said, "What do you want me here for?" You know, I want to sign. They said, "No, we're going to make a change." I said, "Well, it's up to you if you want." They wanted me to go in the office too. And I said, "No, I want to stay on the field. I think I can get a job somewhere."
Here's Jim Edmonds, runners on 1st and 2nd, 2 outs in the 3rd. Swing and a miss. Now, Yogi, there was always rumors that the Yankees actually hired Johnny Keane before the season ended. You believe that?
We were going to win. Yeah.
Now, what happens if you guys would have won? Do you think they would have had to keep you?
I don't know. I think they made a deal before that happened.
Wow.
They did.
Wow.
And that was when CBS owned the team.
Yeah, CBS owned the team.
Do you know that for sure?
Pretty sure.
Really?
Now, you know what, though? The Yogi curse was on because they didn't get back to the World Series till 1976 after that.
Right.
Did you realize that team was ready to go on the downside?
No, I didn't think it would.
Because I think they finished last the next year, didn't they?
Well, I don't know if they did or not, but Keane had a lot of problems with them, I think, you know, with the team. And Peppertone didn't have a good year. Maris, they trade.
That one is hit to left field.
This guy hits the ball left field farther than he does right field.
And Juan Rivera makes the play. Yogi, it's great to see you. Thanks so much.
Right,
thank you, Yogi.
That's Yankee Hall of Famer Yogi Berra. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. 2-1 Yankees. Well, we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. It's raining at Yankee Stadium, but you can feel the emotion. A big night. Roger Clemens has already rung up strikeout number 4,000, and he's trying to ring up victory number 300. The pitch to Derek Jeter is outside. Jeter singled in the 1st inning, eventually came around to score on his buddy Jorge Posada's double, gave the Yankees a 1-0 lead. Cardinals came back with a run in the 2nd on an Edmonds home run, and then a Matsui home run in the bottom of the 2nd has given the Yankees a 2-1 lead. Roger Clemens has pitched very well. 7 strikeouts over 3 innings. He struck out the side in the 1st, struck out the side in the second, and then struck out J.D. Drew looking in the third for his 7 strikeouts.
Bobby, you mentioned earlier that Jeter's been jumping at the ball, and what that does is that you mentioned your head moves around, but also you have a tendency to swing at bad pitches out of the strike. You don't give yourself a chance to get ahead on the count and then really get something good to hit. Now, right now, Jeter's ahead on the count, 2 balls and a strike.
One reason that you don't, when your head moves as much as it moves when you're jumping out in front, you don't get a good look at it. I mean, a lot of balls look like that they're in the strike zone when they're not.
2-1. Driven out to right field. J.D. Drew into the corner. It's deep, and he'll make the play right on the lip of the warning track for the final out of the inning, or the first out of the inning. Tonight on CBS 2 News at 11, meet the voice of Yankee Stadium. Bob Shepard started here when Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle were on the field. He's got some great stories to tell. What's it like to spend more than 50 years with the Yankees? Bob Shepard's story tonight on CBS 2 News at 11. This is Bob Shepard's first lineup that he announced in April of 1951. Jensen, Rizzuto, Mantle, DiMaggio, Berra, Mize, Billy Johnson, Jerry Coleman, and Vic Raschi. Not too bad. And he's announced some pretty special lineups along the way.
Very few of those guys still left.
And there's Bob Shepard. He is the voice of this stadium. Probably the most famous public address announcer in sports history. And the most respected. The 0-1. There's a strike.
Wow.
Whoa, Giambi's not happy with that one.
Looks like Gary Darling's zone is loosening up just a bit after Clemens got that 4,000. Seemed like, Kenny, you said it, he wanted him to earn it.
Well, I think what's happening here, and if you're a hitter, and I'll explain in a second. What's happening here now, they're trying to get the game through 5 innings. Make sure it's an official game. Like you mentioned before, the Cardinals did not come back here, the Yankee Stadium. They're going to try and play all 3 of these games, weather permitting.
That's the way it's been raining for most of this game. It doesn't get any worse than that. I think they'll continue to play, but conditions will get sloppy.
If you're a hitter, you should know that when you walk to the plate. Anything close, better go for it.
Well, the talk as far as the weather is concerned, they said that there's like a window between like 7:30 and maybe 9 or 9:30. I mean, light drizzle, light rain, and then the heavy stuff starts to come in later on in the evening.
Right now, that window's open too much. Fouled off in front of the plate. It's amazing the weather that we have had here in New York, and not just for the Yankees, for the Mets as well. The weather has been miserable over the first 2.5 months of the season.
And it seems like every time that we're on CBS 2, it's raining.
There's some rain delay. CBS 2 on a Friday pretty much ensures that your plants are going to get watered.
Well, the fans came prepared.
You know, there are some football stadiums in this country that you cannot bring umbrellas, and you got to sit there and get soaked. They just don't allow it.
Well, I think Pro Player Stadium in Miami
absolutely,
is like
absolutely, and there's no cover at all there.
Well, you would think in Miami they would allow you to bring, because how much does it rain during the season?
Every minute. Ground ball to first, and he flips to Simon Tachi. I don't know why he made that flip. Why would you put the ball in the air like that when you don't have to? He could have just jogged to first and touched it, but the out is made nonetheless.
I know one thing, when you go to a football game, you're supposed to be tough. I mean, that's the mentality when you buy a ticket, go to a football game, whether it's snowing or whether it's raining.
Well, I don't go to many.
Sit there and take it.
I don't go to
and
many.
Enjoy it.
That's why they make television.
Not only is it a cover, but it's pretty. A pretty umbrella.
There's a tropical feel to it, doesn't it?
Yes. 2-1 Yankees lead. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And the pitch is a strike.
Nice overhand slow curve from Simon Tachi. Nice touch on that one.
And another strike. Mentioned that Simon Tachi won 11 games for the Cardinals last year. Without those 11 games, they may not have won. They may not have gotten to the postseason. Dave LaPointe a few years ago saw Simon Tachi pitching in Puerto Rico.
That's what he saw. Pitches like that right on the inside corner. Posada down looking. 1-2-3 inning. We go to the 4th here at Asagi Stadium. 2-1 Yankees. The New York Yankees, the world's most successful sports franchise, are celebrating their historic 100th anniversary in 2003. Kick off your summer with a split doubleheader between the Yankees and Devil Rays on Tuesday, June 17th. Game 1 is at 1:05 and Game 2 is at 7:05. Come out to Yankee Stadium and join in the celebration of 100 years of greatness.
Well, the Yankees and Roger Clemens lead this game here in the top of the 4th inning. Let's see how Roger has started this game. Well, he started by striking out the side in the 1st inning, including Pujols. Strikeout number 3. That was 4,000. Tino Martinez there. They just continue to go down as the Rocket, with that fastball up around 95 miles an hour, has 7 strikeouts in the game.
Ironically, they have to get these innings in, because if they don't play at least 5 innings, everything gets whopped away, including Edmonds' home run, Matsui's home run, the 7 strikeouts of Clemens. Everything would be washed right down the tube. So if you go to 5 innings and the game is tied and they have to play the game again, at least the records would count. And so they need 2 more innings in order for those 7 strikeouts to really ring in. Here's Scott Rowland. Line drive, base hit through the left side of the infield.
I think what you're seeing from Rowland is he's a good low ball hitter.
Well, it's time to take a look back at a great moment in Yankee history. 55 years ago, on June 13th, 1948, Babe Ruth's uniform number 3 is retired at Yankee Stadium's 25th anniversary celebration. This would also be the Babe's final stadium appearance. This look back has been brought to you by Chevy. Chevy, we'll be there. George Herman, Babe Ruth. And there's Babe on that final day when they retired number 3. Famous picture by a photographer named of Nat Fine. And there's a statue of Babe in one of the Yankee offices. And there has to be a lot of pictures and statues because this is the house he built. Renteria fouls one away. He struck out. He was strikeout victim number 4,000. And he will always be strikeout victim number 4,000. Which is unusual since he's the 4th toughest batter to fan in the National League. And that's past the diving Jeter into center field. Rowland is going to go for 3rd. He'll make it as Matsui puts the ball back to Jeter. So Renteria just under the glove of Derek Jeter, and runners on the corners, nobody out. And here's Tino Martinez coming up in a big spot.
The designated hitter, Tino Martinez.
Well, Yankee fans used to like it when Tino came up in a big spot. I don't think they like this one. Chance to tie the game.
You know, strangely enough, Tino got a nice ovation in the 2nd inning, but he got cheated because the crowd was on its feet cheering for strikeout 4,000. And then when Tino Martinez was announced, they were still cheering, and they kind of went into their Tino cheer, but there wasn't that delineation between the 4,000 cheer and the Tino cheer.
Yeah, also the difference here is that there's the chance for Tino to tie the game. The cheer is not quite as loud this time.
And the pitch to Tino. He lofts one to left field. That should get the run in. Rivera makes the catch. Tagging is rolling. He's going to try to score. The throw is way off, and it misses the cutoff man as Renteria goes to second. An awful, awful throw by Juan Rivera, and fundamentally unsound as well.
Yesterday we saw Matsui not throw a ball, and a runner scored from third on a sacrifice fly. Didn't throw it home on a shallow fly. This one, Rivera is much too deep. Roland runs much too quickly and was going to score easily.
What's Derek Jeter on this play? He sees the ball's up in the air, but he tells Rivera to go to right field, or Ventura that is, to go to second base because they knew they didn't have a chance. The ball was too deep to keep that runner from going into scoring position.
It's unbelievable. You almost see it every day from some member of some team. The most fundamentally basic thing is just not executed. Pitch to Matheny is a strike.
You know, I think I've mentioned this before, but baseball has become such a game of power. Everybody's into the home runs and power hitting that some of the fundamentals of the game have kind of been lost. I mean, the basic things that you do on defense, man, you shouldn't be thinking about offensive things when you're in the field. You got to make defensive plays. And by having a runner move up 90 feet, that's the go-ahead run now in scoring position. It also takes away a chance for a ground ball double play, which would have gotten Roger Clemens out of this inning.
And what Bobby said as well, you have to know where you are in the field and who's running. There's no way, even with a perfect throw, that he would have gotten rolling. So there's no use to make that throw home, make it to second, and keep Renteria at first. It's a very basic, simple premise that Juan Rivera did not seize on.
Roland's good hustle on a base hit to center, and that's another thing you should know too. The grass is wet, so the ball's not going to get to the outfielders as quick, and he had seized on that, went from first to third on a single to center.
And skinned his chin in the process.
Runs pretty good for a big man.
Yes, he does. He did a lot of things well for a big guy.
They are really making Clemens work. His pitch count is up there.
You know, the Cardinals are sort of like the Anaheim Angels of the National League because they don't strike out much. They're the toughest team in the National League to strike out. They foul off a lot of pitches, and that means pitcher's going to have to work a little bit harder to pick up his strikeouts and get his outs.
One, two. He struck him out. Strikeout number 8 for Clemens.
They do work Clemens hard, but I guess they have forgotten that they're facing the third all-time strikeout leader. Yeah, that was that split-fingered fastball.
Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat. High fastball, low splitter, tough slider.
Here's Kerry Robinson, the number 9 hitter and the left fielder. And the pitch. There's a strike. So the game is tied at 2. We're in the top of the 4th inning here at Yankee Stadium.
And Kerry Robinson is a native of St. Louis. Teams always like to have local players on their club. And we saw the New Jersey Devils on the field before the game. Kerry Robinson was a 3-sport star in high school in St. Louis, and one of the sports was hockey.
Really?
He set the, I think, the city record for goals in a season,
Which was very unusual for St. Louis in the Midwest. You normally don't see a whole lot of hockey. Do you see more there today than you used to?
Well, because it's St. Louis Blues, yeah.
Foul back. The Devils right now are sitting in the owner's box at the stadium before the game. The Stanley Cup and a Yankee baseball. And then they took a tour around the outfield, took a picture right behind home plate, and then Captain Scott Stevens threw out the first pitch over the head of Jorge Posada. And there's Scott Stevens. No, that's not Scott on the left. A couple of the Devils in there. The 1-2. Fouled away.
Yeah, what I think is really neat about the Stanley Cup now, every member of the winning team is allowed to have the cup for one day in the offseason. I think that's really neat. You don't see that offered to baseball players with the World Series trophy.
No, those little flags would break off.
Well, either that or somebody give them back a reasonable facsimile.
Have you ever tried to drink champagne out of one of those World Championship trophies?
Could poke your palate.
Watch out for the flag.
But I do think that's a neat thing, though.
The 1-2 inside. You know, the Stanley Cup is to hockey players really what the ring is to a baseball player. Each player on a hockey team, I believe, gets the cup for a week.
A week?
A week.
Oh, I thought it was one day. A week with the cup. You could make a movie out of that, couldn't you?
That cup's been a lot of places. Slow ground ball at second base. Soriano, he gets the hustling Robinson for the final out of the inning. So the gaff by Rivera doesn't count. 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 2-2.
Anybody?
You can't have too many of them on your.
No, because with
that.
Well, Roger Clemens is in his second try at the stadium to pick up his 300th win. In the history of the stadium, which opened up in 1923, only one man registered number 300 here on this mound, and that was Tom Seaver, August 4th, 1985. Ironically enough, that is the 23rd birthday of Roger Clemens. Still the only man in the long history of this ballpark to nail down number 300 right here in the Bronx, Tom Seaver. Here's Robin Ventura. Game is tied at 2. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Roger Clemens at the time was in his second year in the major leagues.
Ventura struck out in the first inning. And there's a strike. Roger actually ended up playing with Tom Seaver when both were with the Red Sox. I asked Seaver if he saw great things out of Clemens at that young of an age. And he said you could see he had the talent and the determination. He said you never realize that he's going to go on to become what he became on. He said, did he have the potential? Yes, but you can't make that prediction that early. You don't know about injuries and things like that.
Well, the potential is there on a lot of players. Some continue to, get better throughout their career as Ventura strikes out. And then some just kind of get a happy medium, get to a happy medium, and they stop and they don't get any better. But Roger has gotten better almost every year.
Let's take a look at the Lexus quote book. It's nice to, just Joe Torre talking, it's nice to draw up all those pretty pictures while you're trying to plan this thing. But let's win the damn game and see what happens. That was on Clemens' attempt at 300. And that is what we have from today's quote book, brought to you by your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Lexus dealer. Everybody wants this thing to be over with. And not saying that in a bad way, because that means that that's one major thing off the mind of Roger Clemens and off the team's mind as well. Here's Matsui, had a home run in the second inning.
You know, another interesting sidebar of this game is the fact that Tony La Russa was here, that he was managing the Chicago White Sox the day that Tom Seaver won his 300th game at Yankee Stadium.
La Russa's managed the White Sox, the A's, and now the Cardinals. And the 1-1. Now, we mentioned before, with his home run, Matsui's now 16 for 34 in interleague play with 7 ribbies. Could it be that the National League, which has always had a reputation as a fastball league, more fits the style of Hideki Matsui? You wonder.
Well,
because did it just suddenly miraculously turn for him in Cincinnati?
Well, I mean, you know, if you remember, Jorge Posada gave him a little bit of a tip about 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, and he was saying that, hey, you're not, Hideki, you're not moving your hands back at the hitting position. He said, oh, I know what you're talking about. And from that point on, he really actually started hitting the ball pretty good, and then driving the ball. And the more that you hit the ball solidly, the more confidence that you build. I think that has a lot more to do with it. I do know that Simon Tachi is trying to pitch him inside most of the times that he has faced Matsui. Matsui turned on him. Matsui likes the ball out over the plate, but he can turn on an inside fastball.
Well, Matsui was at 254 after the Detroit series. You look up at the board right now, he's at 281. And that observation by Posada took place in Cincinnati. So maybe a coincidence. He started playing National League teams. Posada saw it that day at Great American Ballpark in the indoor batting cage, but it has turned around since then. But Matsui goes down on strikes. He foul tips the ball into Matheny's glove, 2 away.
This is what Bobby's talking about. You start to load up the hands, bring them up, and then bring them back down. Prior to that, Matsui had kind of been holding the hands right there and just swinging from there. And you can't get any power with your bat. You can't get any bat speed. So you load up and then follow through.
Here's Ruben Sierra. And there's a strike.
I've always been a big believer that you do just the opposite of what you are doing in batting practice or when you want to work on it. When you have a little bit of a problem, in other words, if you're not loading up with your hands and you're starting them in one position and just swinging from that position through the strike zone, I think if you start the hands and, you know, if you start them way out in front of you, you've got to load your hands up. And you do that a couple of times, you say, oh, that's the feel that I want. That's what I'm trying to do.
That one's hit deep to right field. That could go. See ya! A home run. Ruben Sierra, and the Yankees take a 3-2 lead.
Well, Bobby, we talked about the fact that Simon Tachi had given up quite a few home runs in few innings, and that is low and inside, a dangerous pitch to a left-handed hitter here at Yankee Stadium. I don't know, that wasn't the exit out there. They didn't know it out of the ballpark.
That was almost ankle low.
Yeah. Well, the left-handed hitters, you throw them there all the time. They're going to hit a few in this ballpark.
Something the Yankees have needed, especially since Bernie Williams and Nick Johnson is not around, is some power from the left side.
Pitch to Mondesi is driven out to center field. Right there is Edmonds, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. So the Yankees retake the lead. 1 run on 1 hit, a home run by that man, Ruben Sierra. We go to the 5th, 3-2 Yanks. We go to the top of the 5th inning. The last man to get his 300th win, well, happened to be Roger Clemens' idol, Nolan Ryan. This was back in 1990. Against the Milwaukee Brewers at Old County Stadium.
And that was Robin Yount just struck out.
Pretty tough, 100 miles an hour on the outside part of the plate.
Pitch to Cairo is a strike. The number of attempts it's taken these gentlemen to get to 300.
That's since 1920.
Early win, the longest haul, 8. One of those was a relief appearance, and a lot of people have said that early win simply hung on.
The only win he got this season when he went 300 was the 300th win. That was it.
1-1. Kitty tells the story that he pitched 5 innings, turned the ball over to the bullpen, and then sat in front of his locker in a rocking chair waiting for the game to end.
Wow.
And that's how it ended. And he ended up at 300. And a lot of people were worried about him because he was getting hit so hard and his reflexes were not as good on the mound to field the position. Mondesi chasing toward the line, out of play.
Well, I guess it's good that you've got a team that'll stick with you until you get your 300.
Well, it took him 2 years because you know, he had been released, then re-signed, and came back and finally got that victory.
Those are the 3 attempts that Clemens has had for 300. Threw 133 pitches against Boston right here on Memorial Day. Gutty, gritty, but gave up too much. He was leading 7-1 against Detroit, and then was leading 1-0 against Chicago, and the bullpen blew it. Popped up. Jeter. 1 away.
You know, there are a lot of 300-game winners, and a lot of them were prior to 1920. One of them was old Hoss Radbourn, pitched for Providence in Boston, and he won. He was back in the days when pitchers worked every other day. There were 2-man rotations. He won 109 games in 2 years. 49 one year and 60 out of 73 starts the next season.
Imagine what he would have gotten in arbitration. Here's J.D. Drew. There's a strike. That's unbelievable.
109 wins. Yeah, exactly. But I think pitching was a lot different in those days than it is now. I don't think they threw anywhere near as hard. First of all, it was a dead ball. The ball didn't go anywhere.
Well, the man that Kenny's talking about, Hoss Radbourn, 503 starts, 409 complete games, 489 complete games. Mariano Rivera would not have had a job back then.
That's because they only had starters. They didn't have any relievers.
Well, they only had 2 of them. It was his day to pitch.
Well, you really had to get roughed up to get taken out of the game. And the 1-2 outside to Drew.
That'd be a pretty gutsy move. We were talking to Yogi Berra earlier because this is the first time that the Cardinals and Yankees have met since 1964 World Series. He picked Mel Stottlemyre to start 3 games in that 7-game series, and all 3 games against Bob Gibson. And Mel was a rookie. He was forced to do that, obviously, because of Whitey Ford. Whitey had gotten hurt.
Another thing about Radbourn, I don't know why he was called Old Hoss, because he was 5'9", 168 pounds. That's another way that baseball has changed. I mean, you look at the size of the pitchers today, you know, more like Roger Clemens has said, you know, 6'3", 6'4", 220, 225.
That's why it's hard to compare between eras. I mean, it's such a different game. 2 starting pitchers. And the 3-2 way outside. So he lost Drew after getting ahead of him early. And Clemens, you can see, has disgusted himself. Here's a look back at that Game 7 with Mel Stottlemyre and Bob Gibson.
Check Mel out, will you? Bobby Richardson there.
Is that the final out?
A lot more subdued than when you won the World Series. Got a little happy.
Getting better now.
I bet you when Mel started those 3 games, he thought the World Series was going to be an every-year occurrence, and he never got back.
Well, you know what? I asked Mel, I said, well, what were you thinking about being a rookie and facing off with Bob Gibson in the World Series in your first year? He said, well, to tell you the truth, I was a little bit nervous and overwhelmed.
And the 1-0. Swing and a miss.
Pujols, the only guy in his first 2 years to bat 300, hit 30 home runs or more, drive in 100 runs, and score 100 runs. You talk about offensive production. And when I was talking to Mitchell Page, the hitting instructor for the Cardinals, he was telling me that this kid just doesn't have any holes. You know, some guys, they can't hit the fastball up and in, or they can't hit the breaking ball away, or they can't hit an off-speed pitch. As far as Mitchell Page is concerned, he said he just doesn't have any holes. He's got power to all fields. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark anywhere.
Clemens' 90th pitch. Grounded left side, through for a base hit. So Pujols picks up a single as Drew advances to second. And the Cardinals have runners on first and second with one out. The cleanup hitter, Jim Edmonds, coming up.
Yeah, Pujols leads the National League with 310 runs batted in his 3 years in the league. No player has ever done that before. Some kind of hitter.
And what's amazing is that another player is just one ribby behind over that span of time, and that's Todd Helton.
But this is his first 3 years in the league. Yeah.
You know, from that swing from Pujols, he reminds you a little bit of Manny Ramirez and how he swings at the plate and how he can cover the strike zone for so long.
Edmonds has gone the other way twice against Clemens. A home run to left field in the second, his 18th of the year, and then he lined out to left, deep left, in the third. Clemens has thrown 90 pitches, 59 strikes, with 2 outs away from making this a complete game. Not a complete game, but an official game. And the pitch to Edmonds is outside. Edmonds only a .254 hitter with runners in scoring position, .317 overall.
And he's also a strikeout candidate, but he's a dead low ball hitter. You can pitch him up and in, or up in the strike zone with good hard stuff. But I know Clemens' equalizer is that split-fingered fastball to most of the left-handed hitters. But if he hangs one, Edmonds will hurt him.
And the 1-0 outside.
We talked about Edmonds' power to the opposite field. I think he'd be a real good hitter at Fenway Park if that was his home park.
The knock against Edmonds used to be, well, he's hurt too much. Can't put up numbers. He's doing okay of late, and he really likes playing in St. Louis. The 2-0. There's a strike.
Yeah, we mentioned that St. Louis, one of the classic franchises, how many World Series they've won in the National League, the most in the National League. And at one time, St. Louis was the furthest team west, and their radio network was the biggest in Major League Baseball. It spanned just about the rest of the states west of the Mississippi.
What was that, Como?
KMOX.
KMOX, yeah.
Swing and a miss on a splitter, and the count 2-2.
And even now that they have teams west of St. Louis, they still have the largest radio network in the major leagues and the second in major team sports. Only the Dallas Cowboys have more radio affiliates than the St. Louis Cardinals.
And that's the radio station that used to broadcast the great voice of Jack Buck, the late Jack Buck. Passed away on June 18th of last year. And also Harry Carey became a household name on KMOX. Used to broadcast for the Cardinals before he moved up to Chicago. The 2-2. He struck him out. Another splitter. Strikeout number 9 for Clemens.
Roger really came back against Edmonds. He is a strikeout candidate, but you've got to throw the right pitches. The first 2 pitches to Edmonds, they were just kind of rollers, the split-fingered fastball. But boy, the last 3 that he threw him, I mean, they really snapped off well. Look at that ball go down and away.
Yeah, Edmonds is impressed as well. You've heard Kitty mention from time to time, you throw the same pitch, 2 or 3 times in an at-bat to a hitter. Each one has to be better than the last one.
Here's Rowland. He's 2 for 2, double and a single. Starts him off with the fastball inside, 1-0.
Of course, Kitty is our esteemed colleague, Jim Cott.
Probably home watching the ascot, the pipe, slippers, paisley robe.
Glass of Cabernet.
Yeah.
2-0.
Keeping up with the Yankees. Keeping up with the Yankees in the U.S. Open.
Jim Cott was a member of the 1982 St. Louis Cardinals championship game. And that was Kitty's only championship. Played in the World Series for the Twins, but had a hookup against Sandy Koufax. And pitched very well, but Koufax prevailed. The 2-0. Fastball high, 3-0. Edgar Renteria is on deck. Yankees lead 3-2. We're in the top of the 5th inning, and Clemens' pitch count is really getting up there. Remember last time out he threw just 84 pitches. Now he's at 98. Last time out he was bothered by the upper respiratory illness. The 3-0, right down the middle, 3-1. Joe Torre at the beginning of this quest had always said, I really want to get Roger a complete game when he gets his 300th. I think that's gone by the boards. He probably figures he went too long against the Red Sox, having him go 133 pitches.
He backed him off an extra day, though, for his next start. Gave him an extra day's rest.
This will be his 100th pitch. The 3-1 is driven down the right field line. Fair ball, it's gone. That ball is a foul ball.
Well, we're talking about Mel Stottlemyre, and in between every inning, he talks to Roger Clemens and just kind of gets a good feel on how he is doing at that particular time. Of course, Mel keeps up with the pitch count, and
runners will go on a 3-2 count and 2 outs. And this crowd, a sellout crowd at the stadium, is trying to give Clemens a little bit of a boost. And the 3-2, they'll do it again.
that looked like a breaking ball. Something in the 80s, and it was, I don't think Roger wanted it up in that. We'll see what it is.
You know, each time that Roland's gotten a hit, it's been on a pitch down. So I think he's trying to elevate this last pitch and maybe try and blow it by him.
3-2. He struck him out. Strikeout number 10 on a splitter for Roger Clemens. That is his second 10 strikeout game of the year. He has 104 in his career. It's also an official game. No runs a hit. 2 left. We go to the bottom of the 5th. 3-2. Sunday afternoon on Yes. Don't miss the premiere of the Yes Network special, The Short List. 5 great Yankees shortstops. Tune in as Yes salutes the men who stand tall in the infield with a celebration of Phil Rizzuto, Gil McDougall, Tony Kubek, Bucky Dent, and Derek Jeter as Juan Rivera swings through. Yankee fans will not want to miss the premiere of The Short List. 5 great Yankee shortstops Sunday afternoon at 4:30 only on Yes. There's one of them. And that is following Game 3 of this series. So Derek Jeter on the short list. The 0-1 to Rivera is driven out to right center field. That could be trouble. That is trouble. Splits the outfielders, and it goes to the wall. Rivera's at second. He'll stop right there with a double. A leadoff double for Juan Rivera.
A leadoff double sets the Yankees up in pretty good stead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Fastball towards the middle of the plate, and Rivera drives it to the gap in right center. It's one of the hardest balls he's hit lately. You see Edmonds and Drew in the retrieving mode. Out near the 385 side.
And one of the things the Yankees need to do is to get into that Cardinal bullpen. They're pretty well spent right now, especially with that 13-inning game up at Fenway. And Tony Russa says that there's several guys out there that I'm not sure can pitch tonight. They pitched a couple of innings last night.
Tony carries 7 men in the bullpen, but Bobby is right. They are somewhat depleted.
They carry 12 pitchers while they're playing in the American League ballpark during interleague play. Otherwise, they only carry 11.
Here's Soriano. And he bunts straight up in the air. Matheny will make the catch. So Soriano trying to catch the Cardinals off guard and does not execute it properly. 1 away.
Well, you're only doing one of two things here. You're either sacrificing or you're sacrificing for a base hit and to move the runner down. And you can see it looked like Soriano was sacrificing. So when you're sacrificing, you get the perfect pitch that you want, and you know exactly where you want to bunt the ball. And I think he just got caught off guard a little bit. And running that hand up on the barrel, I don't think that gives you really good command of the bat when you run it up that far.
You know, the thing about Soriano, he does not have a sacrifice bunt this year. So, you know, he's not been doing it. And you're right, Bob. You almost have to get the perfect pitch to get it down. Yeah.
Here's Jeter. And the pitch. Are you guys down with that? Because I'm not. I'd rather him take a shot at right field. I mean, then you can move the runner and you might get a base hit as well.
What if the manager's giving you the sign to sacrifice?
You think he's asking him to sacrifice in the fifth?
Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying, what if he did? He turned around like he was sacrificing on the first pitch. I mean, it wasn't one of those quick turnarounds like he's going to bunt and try to catch everybody off guard. It appeared to me that he got the sign. We won't know till later.
You're right. We won't know till later.
I think he did it on his own, to be honest with you.
Well, he's slumping. He's 4 for his last 28 now. And maybe he thinks, I've got to get the runner over, and I'm not swinging the bat well enough to do it the old-fashioned way, just hitting it to the right side.
1 run's pretty big here at the bottom of the 5th.
Check swing, foul ball.
Michael, you've had a chance to see the top 4 teams in the National League Central against the Yankees in interleague play, and you know, we've seen the Cardinals, and they look like to be a pretty good ball club. What are your impressions of the others and how the race might go in that division?
I'll tell you what, I think the team with the best bullpen is going to be the team that wins. And right now, at this point, Houston. The best bullpen I've seen is Houston.
Well, no doubt about it.
They've got some arms out there that can shut you down from the 6th inning on. Reminds me a lot of the 1996 Yankees.
Now, the Cubs have a pretty good bullpen, but I don't know. You know, their offense is it can sputter a little bit. So I don't know if they have enough offense.
It's like each one of the teams has a weakness. You know, Cincinnati can hit home runs, but not much else. They don't play good defense.
And their starters aren't that good.
Yeah,
and Houston starters are only 2 deep. After that, cross your fingers.
Yeah, so each of them, you know, they have across the bear, each one of the teams, and it's going to be an interesting race. Right now, you have, you know, the Cubs and the Astros tied for first. And you've got Cincinnati or St. Louis 1 game out, and Cincinnati 3.5. So that's pretty good race shaping up in the National League Central.
And you know what's funny is that, and you see the NL Central right now how tight it is. 4 teams separated by 3.5 games. The team that signs Chuck Finley might be the team that gets pushed over the top. He's still a free agent, and there's some talk that maybe the Cardinals will pick him up. A lot of people thought it would be by May 1st when they were allowed to sign him, but Chuck Finley's still without a job. Veteran left-hander. The 1-2 fouled off.
I don't know. You know, he hasn't pitched in a long time, and you would really just have to be. I think you'd have to be extremely desperate to pick up somebody that really hasn't pitched in a long, long time. I mean, I know Chuck Finley was certainly a threat during his career, but I mean, you lay off that long, and it's hard to get back. It's hard to get back in the mode of game competition mode.
The 1-2. The thing that kept people away from Finley early is the Cardinals offered him arbitration. He turned them down. But because they offered him arbitration, if you signed him as a free agent, you had to give the Cardinals a 1st-round draft pick. So a lot of people waited until after the draft, which took place last week, and now at least they wouldn't have to give up a draft pick in this year's draft.
That's why the Angels weren't willing to sign Chuck Finley. They thought that would be a good fit, but the Angels weren't willing to go that route. This might be one of those division races that you have to watch day by day in September.
Well, the Cardinal bullpen straightens out, and with their offense and defense, they've got a chance. I think it's going to be between the Cardinals and the Astros.
Well, it's certainly setting up to be an exciting race down the wire.
3-2. Driven out to right center field. Giving chase is J.D. Drew. He's there. And he puts it away for the 2nd out as Rivera retreats to 2nd.
You know, pretty good at bat for Derek Jeter. You know, Derek had been striking out a lot lately, and he really battled Simon Tachi. He got down in the count early, but he battled him back to a 3-2 pitch. And if you go back to fundamentals, and if Soriano does his job of what he was trying to do, getting the runner over to 3rd base, the Yankees would lead by 2.
Along with Bobby Mercer and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball and Roger Clemens' quest for 300 right here on CBS2 on this rainy Friday evening. We certainly thank you for that. We know you have a lot of options on your television set, and you're choosing to watch this. And again, thanks. And we hope you're enjoying this. Roger Clemens has rung up 10 strikeouts over 5 innings. His 4th strikeout was of Edgar Renteria. That was his 4,000th of his career, joining just Nolan Ryan and Steve Carlton, the top 3 in baseball history. And now he's trying to finish off the exacta by nailing down his 300th victory in his 4th try. Here's Jason Giambi. And that is popped up down the left field line. Giving chase is Robinson, but that goes into the seats. It's not a sporting event unless it's documented by Leroy Neiman. And he is documenting this.
We played an exhibition game back in the 70s in Venezuela. And Neiman was with us on the trip to do some drawings and whatever. And he actually, we got, as we were leaving there after the exhibition games were over with, we were stalled at the airport there. And he was doing some drawings, and he actually did a drawing of Mickey and I playing cards. And I have that today. It's one of my prized possessions.
You had that hung up, huh?
Oh, I do that for sure.
Wow. That's priceless. He's probably the foremost sports artist that we'll ever know. He has documented every big event. That's why he's here tonight. And the 1-1. Low. Appropriate attire.
Uncle Sam, your tax dollars at work. At play.
He's working the crowd.
And the 2-1. Big healthy cut, but fouls it back. Simon Tachi certainly has the Yankees off balance, and that's what his game is.
His style is not a good fastball, miles per hour, 85 miles an hour, but he's got to be perfect on the corners, work east and west on the corners, but that changeup is his best pitch, and that's what he does. He gets these hitters off balance, and a lot of times they can't drive the ball. He's done a good job so far, even though he's behind. 2 bad pitches, that became 2 home runs. Otherwise, he'd be ahead.
Home runs by Matsui and Sierra. Yankees' other run came in the first, an RBI double by Posada. And the 2-2. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. Said third base umpire Jerry Meals. And Giambi cannot believe it. So a leadoff double is wasted. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We have played 5 full innings here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Roger Clemens comes out for number 6, 3-2 Yanks. We go to the 6th inning. Roger Clemens trying to become only the 2nd man to wear a Yankee uniform when he picks up his 300th victory. The first and only Phil Niekro. Back in 1985, he did it October 6th of that year, the final game of the season against the Toronto Blue Jays at Exhibition Stadium. And the thing that made that so special is only the last pitch of the game was a knuckleball. Everything else, he spotted the fastball. And I asked him how he did it, and he said, well, I knew that the Blue Jays had clinched the division the day before, and they were probably out all night partying, and they were exhausted. He said, so I knew they weren't going to be able to hit my fastball. And the only reason he threw a knuckleball on the last pitch of the game was, he said, that was the pitch that did it for me. It was to honor my father who taught me the pitch, and I wanted to end the game that way.
Yeah, his father was extremely ill at that particular time, and so he threw the last pitch of his quest for 300 as knuckleball. Quite a story.
So the count 1-2 on Kerry Robinson. Phil Niekro, when I was a kid, I would have killed for the chance just to pitch 300 games in the big leagues, let alone win 300. This is Edgar Renteria, the 1-2. That one's driven out to deep left center field, giving chase Juan Rivera on the run in Death Valley. He's there. 1 away. Roger Clemens made history in the 2nd inning when he struck out Edgar Renteria for his 4,000th strikeout. Only the 3rd man to achieve that number. Nolan Ryan and Steve Colton, the other 2. Here's Tino Martinez. And the pitch is a strike.
4,000 strikeouts. How many years is that before a hitter made contact off of it, if you put it all together?
The 4,000 strikeout victim of Carlton, Eric Davis, and Danny Heat for Nolan Ryan. There's a ground ball up the middle. Moving to his right, Soriano, and he guns down Tino, who's suffering from a strained right hamstring. It wasn't that he wasn't hustling. He suffered a strained right hamstring in Boston, so he just jogged down the first base line for the 2nd out.
Here's a look at what Michael's talking about, and you can see that Tino's not going to push it once Soriano came up with the ball.
Soriano knew that too, because he took his time. That was a pretty tough play, and he took his time to set himself, knowing that Tino couldn't run that hard.
You know what? If they were playing a National League game tonight, I doubt if Tino Martinez would even be playing, because he'd have to play first base.
And you know what else, Kenny? If they were playing the Baltimore Orioles, I don't think he'd be playing even in an American League Park.
That's true.
Because I think Tony La Russa realizes what this meant to Tino Martinez. And I saw Tino over the winter. He said the first thing he did when he got the Cardinal schedule was see if they were playing the Yankees and where they were playing them. So he has been pointing to this for a long time. His family is here. They traveled with him. And his family loved New York. They loved the Yankee experience. And after the 2001 season, they had lost that 7th game to Arizona. He had a feeling that his time with the Yankees was over.
He knows the best first baseman to never win a Gold Glove.
1-1. Driven out to right field and deep. But Mondesi has room. He's there, and he puts it away for the final out of the inning. A 9-pitch inning for Roger Clemens, which might allow him to pitch the 7th. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 3-2 Yankees lead. Well, fans, how would you like to enjoy the feeling of sitting in the same dugout, walking the hallowed grounds, and entering the clubhouse of past and present New York Yankees greats? Get the ultimate behind-the-scenes tour of the house that Ruth built. Individual and group tours of Yankee Stadium are available on a regular basis. For more information on Yankee Stadium tours, all you have to do is call 718-579-4531. That's 718-579-4531. We want to remind everybody that once this game is over, if you switch over to Yes, we will have the Yes postgame. Fred Hickman and Susan Waldman will do all the honors. Fred back at the studio, Susan here at Yankee Stadium. If Roger Clemens wins, you of course will hear an interview between Susan and Roger. So right after the game ends, we will have a postgame on Yes. So don't make sure to be a part of that. We go to the 6th inning. Posada digs in against Jason Simontachi, and the pitch is a strike. Posada's 1 for 2, doubled over the head of Kerry Robinson in left field in the first to drive home Jeter, then struck out looking. Pitches inside. I spoke to Jorge today about having missed the sign in the game on Wednesday. 3-0, bases loaded. You see Chris Hammond warming for the Yankees in their bullpen. And he said, you know what the problem was? I looked down at Willie Randolph, the third base coach, too quick. I didn't see a sign, and then I stepped in. He said, but he had given the sign after I had stopped looking. And after he had grounded out to first, Joe Torre said, you know, you had the red light there. You didn't have the green light. He said, I'm really sorry. I looked at Willie and I didn't see the sign. So a miscommunication there, and Jorge was distraught about it. And if you read in the papers, I think that Joe Torre fined him a certain amount of money for missing that sign.
And unfortunately, it is no excuse on the player's part, because a lot of guys, you don't even have to give a sign. They know to take in a situation like that, especially whatever the score is in the game. But that's certainly no excuse, and you wait for a sign from your third base coach. If Willie wasn't giving signs, he certainly needed to step back and take a look at Willie until the signs were over with.
You know what I used to do? When I get a green light, 3-0, I would look down at third base coach, make him give the signs again, and then act like I was upset that he had given me the take sign. Just so the pitcher would slip one in there and I'd be ready, and I'd be, all the time I had the green light.
That was your first Emmy nomination.
most of the time, the take sign is the most easiest sign to get, simply because all you do is like this. Most of the managers that I've ever played for, this was their take sign. You look down at third base and they hold up one finger,
and that's the take sign.
That's the take one.
And the 0-1. And Joe Torre actually said after the game, he said, you play for someone long enough, you should know when you're going to get the green light and when you're not, and you should really stare down there for that sign. And if you think about it, that was such a big moment in the game. The Yankees eventually got no hit. They had the bases loaded, and that could have been a turning point because the pitcher was having trouble throwing strikes. But he threw a strike on 3-0, a little fastball that tailed in, and he got him to ground out to first to end the inning. The 0-2. Is grounded left side. Going to be tough to double him up. There's one, and that's all they get. Nice play by Renteria.
You're right about the pitcher being in trouble. I believe he had hit the previous batter and walked the one before that. Yep. So, really, with a lack of control at the time, he should be swinging 3-0. Here's a look at the roller to the left side, and what Michael was talking about. Nice play by Renteria on the backhand, and a pretty accurate throw to second base on the run, running away from the play and still making a decent throw over to second base to pick up one. That's much too tough a play to turn double play.
And that pitcher that we're talking about, Peter Monroe, and the bases were loaded in the third inning, and that's when Jorge Posada missed the sign. Here's Matsui, a home run in the second, a solo shot, struck out in the fourth. We're in the bottom of the sixth. Big healthy cut, foul ball. This took place in the second inning. He led off the inning this way. His 6th home run of the year. In his last 5 games, Matsui has had 1 game where he didn't get a hit. He had 2 2-hit games and 2 3-hit games. There's a hot shot to second. Should be 2. There's 1. And there is 2. They turned it nicely. Cairo to Renteria to Pujols. 4-6-3 to end the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. And because of the double play, nobody left on base. We played 6 full innings here at Yankee Stadium as Roger Clemens goes for his 300th victory. Yankees 3, Cards 2. 6 years ago, Roger Clemens achieved another milestone right here at Yankee Stadium. He was a Blue Jay then, and he was looking for his 200th victory. And it was against the Yankees right here in the Bronx. May 21st, 1997, Wade Boggs was on that Yankee team, faced his former Red Sox teammate, and Clemens watched from the dugout as the Blue Jays nailed it down. He grabbed a fistful of Yankee Stadium dirt, not knowing that he would end up ending his career at Yankee Stadium, could have all the dirt he wants. So now he's trying 6 years later for victory number 300. We go to the top of the 7th. And Robinson lofts one to left center field. Matsui is there, and he puts it away. 1 pitch, 1 down. That is the 112th pitch for Roger Clemens.
And a good pitch to Kerry Robinson. You want to elevate the ball up to the strike zone because his best asset is his speed. So let him hit the ball in the air. Doesn't have much power. You can see Mel Solomar on the phone to the bullpen. That's Chris Hammond, who's been warming up.
Mariano Rivera will be ready if there's a 9th inning. Here's Miguel Cairo. And all of a sudden they are hacking at the first pitch from Clemens. He had I believe a 9-pitch inning in the 6th. And now the first out was made on 1 pitch. That was by Kerry Robinson. Cairo's 1 for 3 against Clemens, and the 0-1. Splitter in the dirt.
Fans might remember Cairo with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays a few years back. And he's like a utility player now with the Cardinals, starting because Fernando Viñas on the disabled list, the Cardinals' regular second baseman. Cairo was actually 2nd in the National League in pinch hits last year. Off the bench, did a good job for St. Louis.
He also played 6 positions for St. Louis last year.
3-2 Yankees lead, top of the 7th inning. Clemens not going with the splitter here. The 1-1 popped up behind the plate, out of play. His wife Debbie, who has made this magical mystery tour around baseball, following Roger for his 300th victory here tonight. Pitches inside. His kids are here, family and friends, sisters. And he joked, my sister said at the beginning of this year, this is their last year, so we have to see some of these American League ballparks. He said, I'm giving them that chance.
Yeah, it's American and National League parks.
And the 2-2. Just got a piece to stay alive.
Cairo's another tough hitter to strike out, although he went down to lead off the ball game in the 1st inning.
The Cardinals came into this game as a team with a .355 on-base percentage. Now that is, I mean, that's putting the ball into play, and that's knowing the strike zone.
And the 2-2. Driven down the left field line. Fair ball, it's trouble. It's a foul ball into the seats. Take a look at the Ford game summary brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford store with the best-selling vehicles in America. Edmonds, a solo home run for the Cardinals. For the Yankees, Matsui and Sierra. Clemens, 6 1/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. And he picked up his 4,000th career strikeout against Edgar Renteria in the second. Well, the next milestone's a little bit bigger. Victory number 300. Try number 4. Here's the 2-2. So Cairo is making him work.
Short, quick swing of Miguel Cairo.
J.D. Drew is on deck. Clemens' first win against the Twins in '84, his 100th against Seattle in '90, 150 against California in '92, against the Yankees 200, 250 against the Orioles in 2000, 28 wins against the Angels, the most against any team. The resume of a Hall of Famer. The 2-2. Driven out to center field. Matsui is there. And he finally retires him on the 8th pitch of the at-bat. 2 away. And here comes Joe Torre. And that will probably do it for Roger Clemens. He's at 120 pitches. Chris Hammond is ready. Chris Hammond's coming in. The crowd is booing Joe Torre. But Joe wants to get Roger out right here with J.D. Drew up. Debbie Clemens about to give her husband a standing O. And is this crowd going to show him some love? Listen up. And now it's up to the bullpen. And now it's up to the bullpen. 4,000, that's been done. 300, while the bullpen needs to get 7 outs. The first of those outs has to be acquired by Chris Hammond. And Hammond will face J.D. Drew. His 29th game, 1-0, 2.73. More than a hit an inning. Drew 0 for 1 lifetime against Hammond. A bunt down the third baseline, a perfect bunt, base hit.
Well, with that bunt there, it'll probably force Joe Torre to go out with Pujols coming up and have to make another move with 2 outs. This is very strange and very unusual for a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Undoubtedly, J.D. Drew just did not feel comfortable hitting against Chris Hammond.
Drew is only 3 for 14 against lefties coming into this at bat. You know, with the third baseman Ventura back, tried to lay one down. Now Pujols, remember the changeup, and Hammond is effective against right-handed hitters.
And there's a strike.
Probably Hammond is more effective against right-handed hitters than he is left-handed, because I mean, he will throw the change up to a left-handed hitter, but more effective to the right-hander because they want to swing hard and pull off the ball, so they don't normally hit it with the good part of the bat.
The 0-1 makes him skip rope. 1-1. You saw Antonio Osuna warming for the Yankees. In 2 of his 3 attempts, the bullpen has blown a lead for Roger Clemens. Obviously, the most dramatic one came Saturday in Wrigley Field when Juan Acevedo served up the 3-run home run to Eric Karros in the 7th inning. Pitch is low.
Well, the one thing about it is that Chris Hammond is no stranger to the Cardinals since he pitched for the Braves last year, and he had that .95 or 85 earned run average. But a very, very dangerous hitter in Pujols.
And the 2-1. Hit sharply through the right side for base hit. Nice piece of hitting by Pujols. Drew stops at second. Pujols at first. And the Cardinals have runners on first and second with 2 outs for Jim Edmonds. The crowd is really booing Hammond. They really boo Torre. But the bottom line is Clemens did throw 120 pitches.
You know, the changeup, and it just wasn't low enough and wasn't too far outside. And talking about Pujols being able to really protect that strike zone and stay in it as long as possible. And that's what he did to drive a single to right field.
He's a good hitter. Came in hitting .382 and is 2 for 3 tonight.
Stoudemire checking to see if Osuna is ready, and Osuna looks like he's ready. All these relievers so desperately want to do this for Clemens. Osuna, or should I say Acevedo, who was released on Monday, was distraught giving up the home run to Karros and actually sought out Clemens after the game and apologized for blowing the lead. Hammond wants to talk with Posada. Now, since the inception of the save rule, there have only been 3 blown saves for pitchers seeking their 300th win. In 1986, Don Sutton tried for his 300th, and Terry Forster blew the save. And in this year, Clemens has had 2 saves blown: Osuna against the Tigers and Acevedo against the Cubs. And the 0-1. Upstairs, 1-1. The tying run is at second in the person of J.D. Drew. Pujols at first. And the 1-1. Grounded softly to second. Soriano, and Hammond gets out of the inning. Debbie Clemens likes it. So does Joe Torre and Mel Stoudemire. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left at the end of 6.5. Get up and stretch. Yankees 3, St. Louis 2. While you're standing, remain standing and listen to the voice of Yankee Stadium, Bob Shepard, as we honor America. A crowd of 55,214 here to witness history, and in the process rooting for the Yankees to win, obviously, because that would get history, but they want Clemens to get the victory. Clemens now out of the game, and the bullpen for the Yankees, which has been much maligned all year, is going to have to fashion 6 more outs out of the pen in order to nail down this 3-2 victory. Here in the 8th inning, or check that, in the 7th inning for the Yankees, it'll be the bottom third of the order: Sierra, Mondesi, and Rivera, as the Yankees are just as nervous as anybody else. They want to get this over with. They want Clemens to get this 300th victory. Now, if the Yankees can extend this lead, that would benefit Clemens and also give some breathing room to the bullpen. Antonio Osuna continues to warm. This might be a day that Joe Torre will go to Mariano Rivera for more than 3 outs. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Simon Tachi deals. Big healthy cut, fouled off. Sierra with a home run in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 2. Flied out to center and then a home run to right. Mariano starting to stretch. The captain looking on. And the 0-1. Hard shot up the middle. That's a base hit past a lunging Cairo into right center field. So Sierra picks up his 2nd base hit. A leadoff single here in the bottom of the 7th. Do not miss the next CBS 2 Yankees game when the Bombers take on the Devil Rays at the stadium. It's the Yankees against the Devil Rays, Tuesday night at 7, right here on CBS 2, the official broadcast home of the Yankees.
Now, Sierra with a home run and a single. He's got 280 career home runs, 19 of them as a Yankee. And that, of course, was his first win since coming back. And that is the difference in the ball game right now.
Simon Tachi with 101 pitches, 66 strikes. And here's Mondesi. Again, if the Yankees can tag on some runs, it gives the bullpen some breathing room. Strangely, with Clemens' quest for 300, you kind of find out that a lot of people are not that familiar with how you get a win. Now, if the Yankees allow the Cardinals to tie this game and then come back to win it, without Clemens being in the ball game, Clemens does not get the victory. They have to hold on to the lead for the remainder of the game in order for Clemens to qualify for the win. Clemens right now will watch the rest of this game back in the clubhouse as he gets iced down. And he will await the results of how his bullpen performs. That one's hit deep to left field. That could go. See ya! A home run! Raul Mondesi! A 2-run shot! And the Yankees lead 5-2. Oh, there's the breathing room we were talking about.
Well, Mondesi's last home run was in Chicago against the Cubs. This time he does the honors to one of the Cubs rivals, the Cardinals. 2-run shot here into the stands in left field. And the Yankees are now up by 3.
That ice may just have come off Roger's arm. That ice pack.
Or it melted.
I can just see Roger now raising those hands in the air. I mean, that's a little bit more breathing room.
Simon Tachi has given up 3 home runs tonight. Matsui, Sierra, and now Mondesi.
So Tony La Russa went out to talk with Simon Tachi. And here's Juan Rivera warming up Esteban Yan. Line drive, base hit, down the left field line. Cutting over is Robinson. Rivera makes a big turn. He'll stop right there. Second base hit of the night for Juan Rivera. 2 for 2 with a walk.
Simon Tachi could be getting a little bit tired right now. Most of those pitches starting off in this inning are elevated up to the strike zone. That's a sign that the arm is getting tired. The legs are getting a little bit tired. And that is not his style of pitching. He cannot pitch up in the strike zone.
You think Mel Stoudemire's happy? That was a big home run by Mondesi. Here's Soriano. Snap throw to first. Rivera's back. The Yankees 7, 8, 9 hitters tonight have done the damage. They are 5 for 8, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored.
He is liable to throw over to first base a few times to give Yan some more time to warm up in the bullpen.
There's that control you were talking about, Michael. Signs from the bench about throwing over to first base. 2 throws, and let's bring in a new pitcher.
And Tony La Russa is famous for this. He will mix and match the rest of the way. So he calls on Esteban Yan. We're going to step aside for just a moment. It'll be Yan against Soriano with a runner on first base. Nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 7th. 5-2 Yankees. The Association for the Cure of Cancer of the Prostate has teamed up with Major League Baseball and the Major League Players Association for the 2003 Cap Cure Home Run Challenge. Pledges for each home run hit from a select 60 games through Father's Day will raise money to find a cure for prostate cancer. 1 out of every 5 men will be diagnosed with this deadly disease. Please join in with your pledge to the Home Run Challenge by calling 1-800-547-CURE or by going online at www.capcure.org. Last year, over $4 million was raised, and in this game alone, the Yankees have 3 home runs, and the Cardinals have 1. We had Michael Milken, who was organizing this program, and he said that $25,000 a home run has been pledged. So $100 grand tonight because of the home runs. Jason Simon Tachi has given up 3 of them. So he will watch the rest of this game from the bench. Yan against Soriano. Yankees are familiar with Yan. Pitched for Tampa Bay, and they have some numbers against him. Soriano was 1 for 7, the 1 a home run.
Well, he was the closer for Tampa Bay. He just didn't get a whole lot of chances down there, but when he did, he just did do a very good job. he can get wild. I mean, he throws the ball hard. There's no doubt about that. With the Rangers last year, and some felt that maybe he could be even tipping his pitches off.
That one's hit deep to center field. Going back Edmonds. He's there, and he'll make the play in deep center for the first out of the inning.
Yan throws very hard, but his slider sometimes gets in the dirt. He's thrown 2 wild pitches in 8 innings. But I think that was his calling card in Tampa Bay. It seemed like he always threw a wild pitch against the Yankees when he came in the game.
Yeah, the first pitch almost from Yan, if I remember right, always went back to the backstop, right?
Here's Derek Jeter. He's 3 for 13 against Yan. Yankees lead 5-2. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Roger Clemens went 6 2/3. If the Yankee bullpen does its job, he gets his 300th victory. Fouled off. A sellout crowd on hand to witness this game, and so far they've seen a good one. Solid pitching, power, some nice plays in the field. They've seen one milestone already. Clemens rang up his 4,000th strikeout, joining only Steve Carlton and Nolan Ryan in that rarefied air, and now trying to join 20 other pitchers with 300 victories in big league history. 1-1 inside. Jorge Posada wants it as much as Clemens. Wants to be behind the plate in this game. If the Yankees can nail it down, the 2-1. There's a strike on the outside corner. 2-2. Clemens, or should I say Jeter, not in love with that call. Mondesi with a big home run here in the 7th inning. A 2-run shot that turned a 3-2 squeaker into a 5-2 game a bit more manageable. The 2-2 low and away, 3-2. Posada has actually caught 58 of Clemens' wins, which is second to Tony Pena with 59. Pena caught those games obviously with the Red Sox. So Posada with a victory tonight would move into a tie with Tony Pena. Rich Gedman is third with 54 victories behind the plate with Roger on the mound. Runner goes. The 3-2 is grounded to short. Renteria across the diamond. 2 away as Rivera moves to second.
Having the runner on the move gives Giambi a chance to drive in a run as Jeter grounds out to short. Staying out of the double play.
Giambi is 1 for 8 against Yan. Posada, who's on deck, 4 for 9. Yan deals way outside.
I mentioned that some people thought maybe Yan, as much as he was getting hit, maybe tipping off his pitches, but I think a lot of times Yan is always pitching behind in the count, and the hitter is on the offensive move all the time against him.
Snap throw to second, but diving back is Juan Rivera.
Yeah, I don't care how hard you throw the ball. If you're pitching 2-0, 3-1, 3-0 all the time, those bats are going to speed up for those major league guys. You can't throw by everybody.
And the 2-0. A little bit low. 3-0.
It's awfully nice from a hitter's standpoint, though, if you know of a pitcher that's tipping his pitches off. And if you could pick that up on everybody that you face, you'd be in the offensive mode on every count.
Let's see if they green light Giambi. He takes low, so a walk to Giambi, putting runners on first and second with 2 outs, and that brings up Posada. At the beginning of the game, we told you the significance of this game. Obviously, Clemens 300, his 4,000th strikeout, the return of Tino, and also the return of this man's mentor, Joe Girardi. Girardi really adored his time here at the Yankees. He got one of the bigger hits in franchise history when he tripled in the 7th inning of Game 6 against the Braves in 1996. That was off Greg Maddux, and that was the game that gave the Yankees the World Championship.
Girardi, very astute, and one of the only guys that you can talk about that would really put the team first. And he has done that many times as you take a look at Girardi's resume with the Yankees.
Behind the plate for David Cohn's perfect game, and behind the plate for Dwight Gooden's no-hitter. 3 World Series titles, and probably one of the most respected players in the clubhouse. I remember when he told me that triple against Greg Maddux, from 2nd to 3rd, he said his feet never touched the ground. And then when he did a pop-up slide at 3rd base and stood on the 3rd base bag, the crowd was so loud that 3rd base was actually vibrating. He said, I had these huge goosebumps on my body and I could not believe where I was. And that's one of the bigger base hits in Yankee postseason history.
He's destined to be a manager or maybe a general manager one day after his career is over with.
And the 1-1.
You know, I wonder how he feels watching Posada develop into one of the best catchers in baseball. You know, nobody drove in more runs than Jorge last year. No other catcher in the major leagues. And here's the guy that, you know, I remember seeing them sitting together on the bench, just talking over, you know, pitching and what was going on with the pitching staff. Because ultimately that's kind of the catcher's first job, the guy in the pitching staff. But Posada's been able to do that for some championship teams, and not only that, but add some offense to the lineup as well.
In doing it, knowing that Posada was going to take over his position.
Exactly.
That's what I was talking about, putting the team before himself.
Not all players are willing to do that.
No.
The 2-2 outside. Posada said he was always stunned by how generous Girardi was. Never, ever held anything back and knew that he was going to eventually take his job. One of his jobs was to groom his successor, and he did just that and was never bad about it, never jealous about it. And that's Joe Girardi. Tells you what type of man he is. 1st and 2nd, 2 outs, 3-2 count. The runners will go. The pitch to Posada. Hit sharply to 2nd base. Tough hop for Cairo. He stays with it, and that'll do it here in the 7th inning. But the Yankees get 2 big runs on 3 hits. The big blow, a Mondesi 2-run home run. 6 outs away from 300. 5-2 Yanks. Tonight's game on CBS 2 is brought to you in part by Bud Light. For the great taste that never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Well, now the Yankees are 6 outs away, and a crowd of 55,214, a sellout at Yankee Stadium, will hold its breath for 6 outs. Antonio Osuna comes out to pitch the 8th inning. In the Yankee clubhouse is Roger Clemens. He's counting down as well. If they get 6 outs without allowing 3 runs, they will have nailed down Roger Clemens' historic 300th victory. Now it's Osuna's turn. Mariano Rivera begins to warm, and this could be a 1+ inning save for him if there's trouble in the 8th. Here's Scott Rowland against Osuna, and there's a strike.
Well, you got the 2 right-handers. You got Rowland and Rich Rivera, and then you got Tino Martinez. So if there are 2 outs, or if you get into a little bit of a trouble, I don't think Joe. I think Joe would go to Mariano.
Pitch is high, and the count 1-1. You can see that Osuna has now emerged as the bridge to Mariano Rivera. They're using Hammond and Osuna, but Osuna seems to be pitching the majority of the 8th innings. 1-1. There's a strike. There's Roger's oldest son, 16-year-old Kobe, and he has made the tour with his dad. He has been at all the tries, so now sitting behind home plate, hoping for number 300. His wife Debbie in the blue top and the black jacket also looking on. Foul back. Roger has 4 boys: Kobe, Corey, Casey, and Cody, and all of the boys' names start with K. Kind of a tip of the hat to all the strikeouts that Clemens has rang up. Ks represent strikeouts.
10 of them tonight in 6 2/3 innings.
The 1-2. A humpback liner to Jeter. The Yankees are 5 outs away. Tonight on CBS 2 News at 11, meet Bob Shepard. As the voice of Yankee Stadium, he's seen it all. Don Larson's perfect game in '56. Roger Maris's 61st home run. Here's stories from his incredible career of more than 50 years with the Yankees. Bob Shepard, tonight only on CBS 2 News at 11. Here's Edgar Renteria. And that one's driven out to right field. Mondesi into the corner. He'll put it away. They're 4 outs away. This team has suffered along with Clemens. Clemens came here as a little bit of an outsider, a trade with the Toronto Blue Jays. People didn't know what to make of him. But slowly, he has fit into the fabric of this team. He has become a big part of this team, and they all want this 300th victory for him. And a crowd again gets on its feet cheering for Tino Martinez. This has to make Martinez feel great. He's 0 for 2 tonight with a sac fly. Popped him up, third base side, but out of play.
Well, the heart is pounding, and as we told you, he's been bothered by a sore hamstring. I'm not sure that hamstring's hurting right now with all that excitement going on.
Crowd chanting Tino. And the 0-1. Swung on a missed.
Osuna has been consistently with his fastball up around the mid-90s.
See Tino wearing number 21. He's doing that to honor his buddy, Paul O'Neill. O'Neill wore 21 with the Yankees. And the 0-2. Foul back. Yankees lost Game 7 in Arizona of the 2001 World Series, and Tino Martinez, Paul O'Neill, and Scott Brosius stayed in their uniforms in the clubhouse for the longest time, realizing that that was the last time they would ever wear Yankee uniforms. And the 0-2 just missed outside.
We had mentioned earlier that Tino maybe not putting up the numbers he would like, but he certainly brings a lot of defense to first base for St. Louis. A lot of defense.
The 1-2 fouled away. As we mentioned earlier, he certainly doesn't take on small jobs. When he came here in a trade with the Seattle Mariners, he replaced Don Mattingly, possibly one of the most popular Yankees of all time. Then when he goes to the Cardinals, signs a free agent contract with them, well, who does he replace? Mark McGwire, probably one of the most popular players of all time. And he handles both of those situations with grace and class. You see his career with the Yankees, 4 World Series titles. You could stop right there, because that tells you all you need to know about the big thing that he meant to the Yankees. The 1-2 outside.
Those 175 home runs that he hit as a New York Yankee ties him for 15th all time. So just a short time that he was here, he's already moved into a category that's pretty revered here at Yankee Stadium in pinstripes.
And there's the man who took over for Tino, Jason Giambi. Yankees signed him as a free agent to replace Martinez. The 2-2, grounded right side. Soriano is there. A 1-2-3 inning for Osuna, and the Yankees are 3 outs away from Roger Clemens' historic 300th victory. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. 5-2 Yankees. Well, there's some nerves in that Yankee dugout right now, because as we said, Roger Clemens isn't the only one biting his nails about this. Everybody wants to get this done. Roger Clemens is very well respected in the dugout, very well respected in the clubhouse, and now the Yankees are just 3 outs away from Clemens getting victory number 300. But first you deal with the bottom of the 8th inning. Yankees lead 5-2. They can make it easier by tacking on a couple of runs against left-hander Steve Kline of the Cardinals. Kline, the third pitcher used by manager Tony La Russa.
time that I have seen smiles at the Yankee dugout in the 4 times that Roger's been trying to win 300.
There's been a lot of tension surrounding this endeavor, and he's 0 for 3 at this point. The pitch to Ventura is outside. Klein 3 and 4, 3.46. He is a workhorse. The 1-0. There's a strike. He's known for having the dirtiest cap in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and he's also known to get out left-handed hitters. I mean, left-handed batters are only batting like 152 against him. There's that dirty hat you were talking about.
1-1. Line drive, base hit to right field against a tough lefty. Nice hitting there by Robin Ventura. He leads off the 8th inning with a single.
Yeah, Tony La Russa has a couple of veteran left-handers to work out of the pen. Not only Steve Klein, but Jeff Fassero. And there's a pitch that's up about belt high, middle of the plate, or make that inner third. And Robin Ventura rips it in the right field for a leadoff single.
Boy, Mel's feeling it. He has been tugging at that hat the last couple of innings. The pitch to Matsui is outside. Roger Clemens said that it was important for him to get the 300 victory on Mel Stottlemyre's watch, and that was one of the reasons Clemens came back here, and one of the reasons that Mel Stottlemyre also came back for this season. The 1-0, a little bit low.
Double jubilation for Mel, I can see, because of the 300 win that Roger could pick up tonight, but also he was the losing pitcher in the World Series the last time these two teams played each other back in 1964.
And the 2-0. Hit sharply through the right side for a base hit. So the 2 Yankee left-handed hitters connect for singles against Steve Klein. And Matsui has himself another multi-hit game. Here's Ruben Sierra. He gave the Yankees a 3-2 lead with his home run in the 4th inning. He is 2 for 3.
And one of the reasons that Ruben becomes a very important part of this Yankee lineup simply because he's a switch hitter. And he hits well from both sides. He has power from both sides, so he can turn around bat right-handed.
And the pitch is away. Sierra was given number 24, so Tino could see that number from the Cardinal dugout. That's his old Yankee number, and that's the first time it's been issued since Tino left a couple of seasons ago. The 1-0. Popped up, left field. Kerry Robinson's there. He'll put it away for the first out of the inning. Mariano Rivera, who has saved 28 of Clemens' previous 299 victories, begins to warm in the Yankee bullpen.
Well, Mondesi gave the Yankees some breathing room last inning. He could downright give them all oxygen with a big hit here.
First and second, 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Yankees lead St. Louis 5-2. And the pitch. There's a strike on the outside corner. One and one. David Wells, who was actually traded for Roger Clemens, rooting hard for the Rocket. There's a line drive right at Roland. Let's see if it's 2. No, it's not. Getting back awkwardly is Matsui. Let's see if he's okay. Might have jammed himself on the bag. He says he's fine.
Mentioned Scott Rowland's ability to field his position and didn't hesitate at all. Gets the ball started across the diamond. trying to complete the inning-ending double play, but Matsui's able to get back. Roland has won 4 Gold Gloves. And Albert Pujols, a little contact with Matsui at first. Roland, who grew up not far from St. Louis in Indiana.
A Cardinal fan growing up, traded from the Phillies to the Cardinals, and then decided to stay when he became a free agent. Pitch to Juan Rivera is outside, 1-0. Rivera's had a nice night. Walk, double, single. Started at 203, the average up to 225. Posada can't wait to get back behind the plate. Hard ground ball is short. Renteria will take the out at third for the force, and that will do it here in the 8th inning. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. The crowd is ready. Debbie Clemens is ready, and the Yankees are ready. 3 outs away. Mariano Rivera will try to get him for win number 300. If you don't know the story, let's go to Debbie Clemens, the wife of Roger Clemens. She'll tell you exactly what the deal is. 3 more outs. She's been there the whole way with him. Let's take a look at today's play of the game, brought to you by Continental Airlines.
And it came in the 2nd inning as Roger Clemens struck out Edgar Renteria for his 4,000th career strikeout. Roger went on to strike out 10 in the game.
And the play of the game brought to you by Continental Airlines. Continental, work hard, fly right. Now, the next milestone is 300. This is Roger Clemens' 4th try. He left with 2 outs in the 7th inning. Roger Clemens' resume: most all-time Cy Young Awards, 6, 299 career wins, 4,006 strikeouts, 3rd on the all-time list, and the 1986 American League MVP. He's won 2 World Championships here with the Yankees. Everybody involved with the Yankees wants this done. Orlando Palmeiro will pinch hit for Mike Matheny. Mariano Rivera, who has saved 28 of Clemens' 299 victories, will try to save number 29. A strike. Three of the other starters watching closely. 1-1.
Yankee fans might remember Orlando Palmeiro. He was with the Angels until signing with the Cardinals as a free agent. Excellent bunter.
Mariano Rivera has been on the mound for many 7th games for the Yankees. You see his numbers this year. A situation like this should not unnerve him, but this is bigger than just any regular season save. Popped up left side. Out of play.
I know managers like to take a right-hander out and put a left-handed batter in there against Mariano, but basically the left-hander has a harder time hitting Mariano's cutter than the right-hander does.
Strike 3. 2 outs away.
From the left side, you get so geared in on that cutter inside, and he paints the outside corner. That'll buckle your knees.
Here's Kerry Robinson. And there's a strike.
One thing that's made Mariano so successful in this role is his ability to throw strikes.
Roger's youngest son, Cody, on the lap of mommy, Debbie Clemens. Slow roller back to the mound. 1 out away. 2 outs here in the 9th inning. They are 1 out away from Roger Clemens' 300th victory. A crowd of 55,214 on its feet. Here's Miguel Cairo against Roger Clemens. Strike one. Now Roger's going to watch the last out. Grounded to first. This will do it. Roger Clemens has joined an exclusive club. He wins his 300th game. Only the 21st man in big league history to accomplish that honor. 7,500 men have thrown a pitch in the big leagues, and Roger Clemens only the 21st to pick up 300 wins. Congratulations to the Rocket. Roger Clemens picked up his first win on May 20th of 1984. He picks up his 300th win 19 years, 24 days later, with a 5-2 victory over the St. Louis Cardinals. And now the children that he cherishes so much are part of history with him. A bag of that magic Yankee Stadium dirt. And a banner unfurled just to the right of dead center field. The Rocket, 300 wins. And another magical moment here at the Baseball Cathedral in the Bronx. So many, all of them special, and Roger Clemens now a baseball immortal. He has added another line to his future plaque at the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. Now a hug from Mom. His wife, Debbie. They were married in 1984. She knew him in Texas when he was a Longhorn. She's been there through all 300. You talk about goosebumps. If you're a baseball fan, this will do it. And now his youngest sons will take some of that Yankee Stadium dirt. The captain gives them a hug, and they're taking that back to Texas. Since 1923, this ballpark has seen many great moments. Add this one to the list. Roger Clemens picks up his 300th victory at Yankee Stadium. Friday the 13th, unlucky, not for the Rocket tonight. And Roger Clemens comes out of the dugout, and he is going to talk with CBS 2's Duke Castiglione. And if you want to tie a neat little knot around this, Duke's dad, Joe, actually interviewed Roger after his first win as the announcer for the Boston Red Sox. Now let's go down to Duke Castiglione, who's standing with Roger Clemens right in front of the Yankee dugout on the outfield side.
What's that? No, not yet.
Charlie. What's that? This one, this camera.
Rocket, this crowd, this sellout crowd here, through the rain, the 4,000 strikeout, 300 wins. Got to be an emotional night for you.
Yeah, I was. It was really tough to control my emotions out there, but I mean, what a blessing that it happened here. I think when they say it rains in Hawaii or Maui, it's you're getting a blessing. So we're getting a big blessing right now, and I guess, I mean, where do I start to thank people? I mean, first these fans here that stayed through this, the weather, a packed house, and just cheered me on through this. You know, I just don't know what to say. I just have a lot of people I need to thank. Mr. Steinbrenner was here. He was as emotional as I was, and I just got to thank him for giving me the opportunity to do this here in this uniform with this organization, and it's just a pleasure.
Your family's been in such a big part of your career. Your boys are here. Your wife's in the crowd. Your mother couldn't make it tonight. Yeah. She's not doing well. What does this mean to them?
Well, I believe my mother's watching. Mom, I love you. I love you.
It's emotional.
And she knows I love her. And everybody at home. And there in Houston, just a lot of friends and family that stood behind me through this whole thing, and rooted me on for the 20 years. So it's a lot of hard work, and I was glad I was able to get through this and get back to work tomorrow on my normal routine. So just a huge thanks to my teammates. Those guys busted their tail behind me ever since I've been here, and we just talked about it for so long, and for it to happen now is just a thrill, especially here with all these people.
You and Mel became extremely close since you came over here in 1999. You've seen him battle his illness. What's this mean to win it on his watch?
Yeah, just another. I mean, what can I say? It's the reason why I desperately wanted to come back here so bad. What Mel did, fight through his illness, and to be with us as pitchers, and to will us to the finish line when he was sick. How can I not come back? I wanted him to be here to see this. So you're right. That's just another blessing, and I'm very thankful that he was able to see this.
Roger, my father had the pleasure of talking to you, interviewing you after your first win, the longtime voice of the Boston Red Sox. It's a proud honor to interview you after win number 300.
Thank you.
All right, guys, a very emotional night here. And remember, in just a couple of minutes, you can catch the post-game wrap on CBS 2. Let's send it back to you guys up at the booth.
Well, thank you, Duke. And I thought that the best thing that was said right there, Roger Clemens said, I have to get back to work tomorrow. And if that doesn't sum up what Roger Clemens is all about and what has made him one of the best pitchers in baseball history, he now joins 20 other gentlemen through the years when baseball began. A pantheon of greats, Roger Clemens now stands with them. He's the 21st pitcher to win 300 games. And for him, it's a moment that he will never forget. So congratulations to Roger Clemens, and his career continues. This is just a stop sign. It's not a red light. He comes back for more 4 days from now. Congratulations to Roger Clemens on number 300.